If that's the only way to level up, June growled, his knuckles turning bone white. Then I'd rather tears suddenly spilled from Ina's eyes. No, June, stop. She cut him off, finally venting her darkness. You know how I felt back then? Memory of the fire, her aunt trapped under rubble. Do something. You've got powers. Save me. Help me, the woman screamed. But Ina just stared back with a gaze cold as ice. Her aunt shrieked as Ina walked away. Hey, where are you going? Everything changed that day. I realized only I can protect myself. Her aunt's screaming reached a fever pitch. Not my parents, and definitely not her. The woman finally broke down, sobbing for real. I'm so sorry. Seeing Ina leave, she tried a new tactic. I was mean, right? But you're a good kid. You'll save me, right? Ina ignored the bait, walking through the roaring flames. Are we family? Then she attacked. A flash of light erupted. She wasn't hitting her aunt, but the massive beast behind her. The monster fell, her aunt sighed, thinking she was finally being rescued. Thank God. Finally. You owe me anyway. Do you know how much cash I spent on your ungrateful self? Ina didn't even look back. Her face was stone. Her aunt started fuming with rage. I knew it. Buried under the concrete, her true ugly nature came out. Useless brat. You ungrateful little Ina stayed silent, walking out of that hell without a word. Back in the present, she looked at June. Those tears weren't for her. They were for the old me. Anna's resolve was solid, and June just stared, unsure how to comfort someone that strong. She didn't let it stay awkward. I bet Guildmaster Sue felt the same. He didn't awaken just because he lost someone. She pictured him in the light. Tragedy just helped him find his true will. Her voice softened as she watched him. So, don't think you have to suffer. Ina moved her hair aside. Because out of everyone, you're the most determined person alive. Back on the field, June snapped out of it, those memories fueling his fire. June gnashed his teeth as his aura exploded. My will, my determination. Just like she said. A flood of energy burst like a broken dam. Hindo stepped back, totally shocked. What is this mana? The villain's aura flickered. Impossible! You're just a mere human. The blinding light clears and June is standing tall. His vibe totally changed. He drops his head, thinking, then snaps his gaze right up. One eye is a different color now, glowing with ancient power. I am not losing anyone ever again. System alert. Main quest done. Exclusive skill unlocked. Odin's lost eye is vibing with your will. Godly energy swirls, slamming right into his eye socket. System alert. Active skill acquired. Divinity usurpation. The sync is done. June whispers something urgent into the dead silence. Hela. She is just lying there on the cold dirt. Her eyes are empty, staring at nothing. But he is not quitting. He gives her one last deal. I still need you for something. The system flags the first player ever to actually steal a god's essence. A single tear rolls down Hela's cheek while she is out cold. The system window pops up, flooding his eyes with new data. Skill details, divinity usurpation. Player can suck the divinity out of weakened gods. Effect 1, massive stat boost. Effect 2, no more limits on the copy skill. Heimdall is watching the impossible happen right now. He grinds his teeth, pure rage coming off him. So, what if you got a unique skill? The ground under the gods starts shaking hard. Purple energy builds up in his hand, swirling with pure destruction. Heimdall looks like a total psycho now. The variable. There is no way she can handle that power. That stolen divinity belongs to the Asgard traitor. A bright golden aura wraps around Jae-hyun, protecting him. His voice cuts through the chaos, totally calm despite the storm. That power is not for some mortal without divinity. The Eye of Odin glares with insane pressure. You trashy Asgard traitor. From the ground, a tiny whisper floats up through the dust. Loki. Hela is basically dead, barely holding onto her last breath. The sinner of Asgard. He used to lead the rebellion against the Acier. Jae-hyun feels the transformation rewriting his entire body. So this is his real power. He swings his hand and Nidhogg lights up the whole place. Far off, Heimdall roars, charging in with that massive sword. I know what you are thinking. The blade stabs right for Jae-hyun's heart. Usurpation only works on weak gods. It is useless against me. But Jae-hyun does not even flinch. He takes the hit head-on with scary resolve. Sorry, man, but you are dead wrong. With a quick shift, he pops his movement skill. Aerial step. He vanishes into thin air, dodging the kill shot. He appears right behind Heimdall. His voice drops to a scary growl. Who said I was stealing from you? Heimdall freezes. System notice. Target. Hela. Divinity successfully stolen. Player divinity has gone up. Jae-hyun screams over the battle noise, sounding totally sure. She was my target the whole time. He lands smooth and pulls her limp body close. Hela. Heimdall stands frozen, watching lightning fall from the sky. Holy light blinds everything. But inside that light, the pain on Hela's tired face is so obvious. In that split second, she wonders, how did he plan this so fast? Was it just an illusion? She sees Loki's shadow over the human's face. She has to admit it. You were actually right. Her skin is pale, her mind slipping away. I always thought gods were born perfect from day one. She fights to keep her heavy eyes open. But I was wrong. Golden light swallows Jae-hyun, and Hela's consciousness starts fading. A human with a weak body grabbed divinity and made a myth. The thought echoes in her dying mind. Jae-hyun was not just some warrior. He was the awakening she never managed to pull off. Her eyes finally close, finally finding peace. But this is not over. He lays Hela down gently on the ground. June steps forward, power rolling off him in waves. Since the start, his eyes burned with pure confidence. He was chosen by fate. Infinite strength surges right into his clenched fist. A bright sigil explodes from his chest, burning like a sun. A bunch of skills activate at once. Thunder magic, lightning chains, thunder god authority. He grips his ultimate weapon, the energy humming like crazy. From right now on, a smirk tugs at his lips. Round 2 starts now. Heimdall can't believe his ears. What did you just say? Jae-hyun lets loose the thunder god's chains. The system window flashes. Item description: chains soaked in Thor's power, capable of piercing the absolute defense of any enemy. Activation condition: thunder magic. Hundreds of lightning chains appear instantly. They surge toward the enemy like a golden hydra. The impact is insane. Heimdall struggles to block the barrage. No matter how many he stops, the attack is endless. The battle is popping off and Heimdall is totally losing it. This has to be impossible, right? He stares at those glowing chains. That is Thor's lightning. Another blast hits him, and now he is actually panicking. How does a random variable have the power of a thunder god? These hits are too fast. No counter. Only one option: run. Running away is a bad look for a god, but survival comes first. I need space. Time to bounce. 1 second of distraction and boom, fist to the face. Jae-hyun sends him flying like a cheap rag doll with one punch. He goes sailing, barely catching himself by stabbing his sword into the dirt to kill the momentum. Humiliation hurts way more than the lightning. Heimdall is screaming his head off. You dare? Jae-hyun just stands there, whispering. So this is what being a real god feels like. He starts walking toward the loser, slow and steady, blade ready. The tables have turned completely. Heimdall is stuck on his knees, forced to take whatever lecture is coming next. I could end you right now. Jae-hyun looks down with cold mockery. But you? You cannot even touch me anymore. Heimdall grinds his teeth, drowning in his own useless, pathetic rage. The ghost of Hela is messing with his head while he makes excuses. Killing her clone earlier drained every bit of my divine power. He cannot even spark a little magic. Pure terror takes over, his body moving on instinct to avoid his looming death. Am I shaking? His face twists into a gross mask of pure, ugly despair. The great Heimdall is totally humiliated, and it burns. Cornered by a human, he charges in like a psycho, swinging to save his broken pride. Do not get ahead of yourself. With a quick flick of Jiune's hand, the air fills with the sound of rattling metal. A ton of chains fly forward. Those steel snakes wrap around him, blocking every single way out. Heimdall is losing it, swinging his arms while his whole defense falls into total chaos. He might be a glitch, but he is still just a human. Heimdall breaks free for a second and jumps for an air attack. But without his magic, he is just a bird with clipped wings. Jiune just looks up, looking totally bored with the show. I have been waiting. Panic hits Heimdall's face when he realizes he just walked straight into a giant trap. The chains slam shut like a cage. They wrap around his chest in a death grip before sliding down to crush his legs. Jiune locks it in, shutting off the god's power for good. A massive scream of pain echoes through the air. Heimdall slams into the dirt, totally helpless. Jiune walks up slowly, sword in hand, ready to finish this. What? Death is right there. All he can do is curse his luck. Damn it. His eyes are popping from fear and anger. You jerk. Jiune does not let him finish. One quick slash and the god's body just evaporates into thin air. Jihoon's eyes are cold as ice, zero mercy. Jiune just scoffs at the leftover energy fading away on the ground. Up on a nearby skyscraper, Hugin is watching the whole mess. What a total idiot, he thinks. I never should have trusted that guy. This whole thing leaves a bad taste in his mouth. The plan is trashed. I gotta tell Odin about this right now. Hugin smirks at the irony. Imagine the guardian of Asgard losing to some regular human. Jiune standing there in the sun feels scary. He is leveling up way faster than we ever thought he would. The crows circling above are definitely starting to lose their cool. He has even figured out divine power. It is just a matter of time before he goes higher. Hugin mumbles, trying to stay calm. But this is not a total disaster yet. When he used that magic, he showed exactly how much he wants to kill. The end is near. Down below, Jiune sheathes his sword. What is left of Heimdall wiggles on the ground like trash. Ugh. Seeing a god look this pathetic is actually pretty satisfying. You look great down there. For a god, this kind of trash talk is hard to take. You gross little bug. I messed up today. But next time, I am dragging you straight to the deepest dungeons in Asgard. The response? A heavy boot to the face. Thud. Shut up. Ji-yoon looks at him like a stray dog. You talk way too much. Heimdall gets a chill that has nothing to do with the weather. This human was only using about 30% of his real power. But destiny is set. Sooner or later, you are going to be dragged to Asgard whether you like it or not. Holding on to that, the dying god sneers. Do not think for a second that this win actually changes anything. His voice gets sharp, like a bad omen. Ragnarok is going to happen exactly like it says in the book. Ji-yoon stays stone cold. I know nothing changes by itself. Heimdall freezes, seeing a total bloodbath in the human's eyes. War or no war, I am going to kill every last one of you. Talk about cocky. Heimdall shakes with manic laughter. You are clueless, kid. Totally lost. Then, he finally pulls back the curtain. These monsters trashing our world and you becoming a raider. Did you really think these were gifts for us? Ji-yoon scowls, losing his cool. Say what? Like a total jerk, Heimdall just drops riddles instead of real answers. Watch your back with your friends. Watch every tiny detail. Every single word feels like poison in his ear. You won't taste the rot of betrayal until the very end. His head starts glowing and melting, leaving a heavy curse behind. That is when you will see. The trust you are clinging to today, it will become a permanent scar on your soul. After those parting words, Heimdall just poofs into a cloud of smoke. June glares at the empty spot, trying to process that weird warning, but he won't let it haunt him. He looks up and lets out a long sigh. Well, that is one less problem for me. He turns around and walks toward the hurt figure collapsed in the corner. Huh. He gives the woman a cold look and asks, Hey, you still kicking? Hela whispers back. Yeah, my soul stopped falling apart. Her voice is shaking like she is actually thankful for the help. Thanks. But Ji-hoon just turns away. Good. He tosses one last comment back that leaves Hela totally speechless. I got stuff to do. Talk later. Jae-hyun heads back to where Heimdall's wrecked body is lying. When he reaches out, a crazy bright light explodes, wrapping them both in a glowing shell. Right then, the system screen pops up. The deity plunder skill kicks in, locking right onto Heimdall's leftover fragment. The system starts sucking up the juice. Raw power swirls around Jae-hyun as a notification dings in his ear. Divine power increased. A smug little smirk creeps onto his face. His gut was right. I figured there would be some god juice left in this corpse. Glad I nailed it. Okay, phase 2, let's roll. He totally ignores her, even though she is pouting like a brat behind him. Meanwhile, inside a fancy temple, a heavy, awkward silence is crushing the life out of the god and his servant. Heimdall bows way down, face planting on the floor in shame. I am so sorry, my lord. My screw-up, let the enemy live. Odin is scary calm about it. I already know that, but the ice in the Allfather's eyes says otherwise. I saw the whole disaster go down. Heimdall grinds his teeth. Halidskilf, that legendary throne isn't just for sitting it, lets Odin see everything in all 9 realms. He sees everything. Cold sweat drips down the guardian's face. Dang it. He squeezes his fists until his veins pop. Why? Why did that jerk have to unlock his unique skill at that exact freaking moment? Heimdall looks down to hide his anger. That fight sucked up half my divine power. This is total garbage. Suddenly, Odin's raspy voice cuts through. Time for a cleanup. The King of Gods raises his hand and gives orders. From this second, you are helping Freya grow the zombie army. As for our enemy, I will send someone else to deal with him. A demotion? This disrespect is totally insane. Before Heimdall can talk back, Odin's voice cuts him off. Are you? The Allfather's one eye glows with scary light. Questioning my orders, Heimdall is terrified. He hits the floor immediately. I am sorry, my lord. Odin waves him away. Get out. You are a total eyesore. Once the loser leaves, Odin calls out for Hugin. Like a blur, the raven appears next to his boss. Yes, my lord. Odin speaks like he couldn't care less. The war starts soon. A creepy, excited smile grows on his face. I assume you know what to do. He reaches out, whispering like they are plotting something. We need the right stuff to feed the Einherjar warriors. Right then, footsteps echo through the empty hall. It gets pitch black, except for some flickering blue ghost flames. While Odin talks, the zombie army turns around. Somewhere else, Jae-hyun strolls through the library with a huge pile of books. He finds a spot and dumps them. Jae-hyun looks at the mountain of paper and groans. When am I ever going to finish this? Suddenly, his face goes dead serious. That mysterious guy's words keep ringing in his head. Watch out for the things you are most used to. Question everything. A cold knot of stress tightens in his chest. Reach the end and you will finally see. Betrayal is a poison way worse than any venom. Creepy fear wraps around Jae-hyun like growing shadows. Trust is basically just the knife that leaves the deepest scars. That voice just won't shut up. One last tip for you, Mr. Eyes of the Subjugator. Do not trust the system. Jae-hyun goes deep into thought. Doubt. Both Mimir and Heimdall hinted at the exact same thing. He stared at the books. There had to be a link between those cryptic warnings and the truth. Something huge yet hidden he couldn't quite grasp yet. He grabbed a tome and stared hard at the ancient text. Is it time to look into these concerns? Time crawled toward midnight. Jae-hyun sat frozen at his desk, totally buried in those documents. Slam! He snapped the book shut. He finally found it. The subjugator's eyes flashed with a dangerous light. He grabbed a pen and circled a specific spot on the page. This isn't a definition. Suddenly, the messy letters shifted right before his eyes. An anagram. The Einherjar jar are ready. He caught his breath. I finally get it. Jae-hyun stared hard at the paper. This is what Mimir and Heimdall meant by doubt. Meanwhile, a high-stakes emergency meeting started at the guild office. Park Hoon broke the silence, scanning the executives. Look, Minhun is totally off the leash now. He won't be held back anymore. The mood turned dark. If you object now, listen close. You are declaring war against forces you can't even imagine. Diane sighed, looking completely helpless. Basically, they are way past our level now. Duhan gritted his teeth, forced to agree. It is true. Their power makes zero sense anymore. Park Hoon laid out the cold, hard reality. Our enemies have evolved into something disastrous in just a few short months. We simply cannot control them anymore. From this point on, our only move is damage control. He slammed the table, the sound echoing like a gunshot. But let's be crystal clear about one thing. Parkin looked at Cheon, who sat there acting totally bored. His face turned cold as he confronted her. You lead one of the 4 great guilds. Why do you refuse to join this mission? She met his questions with icy indifference. If other rivals interfere, we lose this fight. It is suicide. Her cold dismissal set off you. What did you just say? But John ignored the outburst, sticking to cold logic. Using only the round table's skills, she ignored his anger completely. I've crunched the numbers. We won't survive taking down the bone dragon. She stood up, giving her final no with total calm. I'm not participating. I can't throw away my guildmates on a lost cause, can I? Meanwhile, Jiune stayed buried in research, his eyes locked onto crucial details hidden in the ancient text. During the Bone Dragon raid, all the Awakened will have their skills sealed away. Jiune read those lines, connecting all the dots. The truth was staring him right in the face. The Acier gods can mess with the system directly. One thought kept echoing in his head. Mimir said to doubt. Hind said be careful. Jiune started thinking. What if they were both hinting at the Acier system's true nature? His thoughts sharpened with terrifying clarity. The system's goal isn't helping humans. It's actually about farming materials for their giant army. A possible answer flashed in his head. Jiune felt a wave of pure horror. The materials are every single Awakened on Earth. Then, the system voice shattered the silence. User has discovered the truth. Project Sarah Einhar information has been updated now. Do you want to see the path of Mimir? The sudden alert shocked him. Slowly, he reached out. The moment he touched the screen, reality warped. The sudden shift in space left Jiune feeling totally dizzy. As the bright light faded, he found himself standing in a totally alien world. Full of curiosity, Ji-hoon stepped forward. A mysterious grimoire floated right there above a stone pedestal. This was where Odin's eye was first taken. Jiune walked up slowly, eyes locked on the floating book. He took a breath and reached out to open it. He turned the page, revealing the ancient text. This is my journal. The history of Asgard and the record of Odin's crimes. After the first Ragnarok war, Odin's army was totally wiped out. As you've probably guessed, there's a dark truth behind their slaughter. A massive legion appeared, the Einhar. They were just Odin's limbs, tools meant to be used and tossed away. Even the monsters back then were under his thumb. If you ask if they were demons, I can't say. They were just weapons used by Odin. The Einhar faced endless war. Odin tricked humanity and enslaved them all. He used them as fodder against the anti-Acier alliance. In the end, they were totally defeated. But in that massive battle, countless Einhar died. His generals turned on him, crushing Odin's delusions forever. People weren't down for his army anymore. Odin never saw this massive betrayal coming. He knew only humans could become Einherjar. But the catch? Total, blind loyalty to the gods. Now, a new nightmare was rolling in. The second Ragnarok was about to wreck his throne. Desperate, Odin cooked up a fresh scheme. He tapped into a totally different power source. He dropped the roots of the world tree, Iriso, onto Midgard, turning Earth into a monster-filled hellhole. Then, he offered humanity a gift. He pitched it as our savior, a real brother in arms. He called it the Acier system and kept pulling our strings. Every Awakened uses it, totally clueless they are being forged into tools for Odin's next army. Jiune felt his blood turn to ice. Enemy of the prophecy. If you are reading this log, gear up now and head to the Iriso control tower. A weird symbol popped up on the page. The device powering the Acier system is buried right there. But that last line really hit home. If you fail to reach it, every single Awakened human will turn against you. Jiune's eyes went wide. He bolted upright, leaning on the table as pure dread washed over his body. You could see the tension in his grip. Veins popped on his skin as he swallowed the brutal truth. June gritted his teeth. I have to find Hela. He didn't waste a second, sprinting to her with total urgency. Hela, it is an emergency. Despite his panic, the goddess was still half asleep, giving him a lazy reply. What is so important that you would actually dare to disturb a goddess's beauty sleep? Her vibe flipped instantly when Jiyun dropped the news with deadly seriousness. I think I found Odin's real goal. He spilled everything about the prophecy and the journal's secrets. His words left Hela in a deep, heavy silence. After thinking it over, her eyes sharpened. This changes the whole game. We have to talk to the Anti-Air Alliance. Hela made her call. Understood. We move at sundown. Her decisive answer worked for him. Right, I'm counting on you. Suddenly, a thought hit him. Hela looked back, surprised. Without a word, he held his gauntlet out to her. I found this artifact during that outdoor drill. What do you think? Rumor says this belonged to the very first Awakener. Do you recognize this thing? Hela's face clouded over instantly. The first Awakener? Unfortunately, her memory was a total blank. Anxious to bury the topic, she quickly pivoted. Let's just put that mystery aside for now. The whispers about the Einherjar are spreading, and her hesitation only made him more suspicious. But Hela cut to the chase. I have another reward. A sharp chime pierced the air, leaving Jiyune stunned. The system notification flashed right before his eyes. Quest complete. Unlock unique skill. Quest complete. The closed city. Calculating your rewards now. A slow, satisfied smile crept across his face. This was the moment he lived for. Let's see the loot. He tapped the screen. First reward, a blank card. The second one was weird, a system update. The screen started flickering. System Nonia is upgrading to version 2.0. Jiyune stood frozen, staring at the hologram. Then, a bunch of new features appeared. The exchange function is live. Now you can send voice messages to guild members, no matter the distance. The status window shimmered and reorganized itself. Mythic rank skills can now be equipped in the active slot. Current capacity, 1 of 1. Crow radar auto-installing. This feature tracks Odin's crows nearby. New main quest accepted. Shatter the system. These changes immediately caught Hela's attention. So, it is basically a communication upgrade. She beamed with excitement. Now Jiyun can rely on me more. But he killed her vibe with a smirk. Sounds more like I'm using you than relying on you. Hela bristled at the tease, fuming in silence. Jiyun didn't care. He was locked onto the system interface. Time to optimize. He pulled up his status window, and data flooded the screen. In his hand, a vial of crimson liquid appeared the blood of a giant. He stared at it in awe. Before, his body was too weak for this power. But now, he was ready. Without thinking twice, he downed the vial. The bright red fluid splashed out, drenching him from head to toe. As the liquid soaked in, the system reacted instantly, triggering a violent transformation. Consumable used, giant's blood. The raw power of the giant surged through his veins. Strength and mana increased by 30 points. He felt the energy roaring inside him. It was pure hype. I thought I would need S rank to see numbers like these. Looking at these raw stats, I am already equal to an average S rank hunter. Jiyune didn't waste a second. He opened the next slot, the mythic skill container. The system updated in real time. Slot 1 of 1 is occupied. Passive skill, God of Thunder. This mythic rank ability packs the raw might of Thor, supercharging every lightning-based power in his arsenal. The screen flared with stats. Point 1. Lightning damage is up 300%. 2. Lightning mastery increases 50%. 3. This aura can be toggled at will. Reading the stats, a wicked grin crossed his face. Forget the old limits, he had finally reached full divinity. Only problem? Limited slots. The system answered his thought instantly. To unlock more, you gotta boost your divinity level. How? By taking down other mythic rank beings. Yeah, that is a pretty heavy price tag. But he just brushed it off. Wielding Thor's power was plenty for now. Aya, watching from the side, looked totally fascinated too. Whoa. Her eyes glued to the screen. Looks like the crow radar is fully installed. Now they can track Odin's crows whenever they are close. Hela's face beamed. Hunting those birds just got way easier. June nodded along. You are totally right. But his mind was already 3 steps ahead of the game. Hey June, maybe we can track him too. Then it hit him that final update mentioned a new mission. He checked the log. This looked like the toughest quest yet. The system flashed the objective. Quest accepted. Shatter the system. June's face went dark immediately. Shatter the system. Miles away, a voice echoed in front of a mirror. Stop stalling and get moving, Joan whispered with urgency. We can't keep him waiting any longer. Nothing but silence. She called out June's name, remembering the last time they met. A voice called out. Senior June approached from behind as she turned around. She was curious. It's you. She remembered the briefing. Word is, you were the star of that training session. Jan actually offered a compliment. Nice work. But June's reaction was cold as ice. Appreciate the kind words, but I'm busy. He walked past her like she was invisible. Let's talk some other time. Zhao Yun watched him closely. That feeling, no doubt about it. She spoke up suddenly. What's your take on this? Her mind started crunching the numbers. He is the variable that flips the whole script. Watching him walk away, she admitted it. Even though I lead a ring, I skipped the subjugation mission. Everyone hates on me for it. That finally made him stop. She could practically see the raw power inside him. Maybe he had already unlocked some divine force. June just scoffed. If you're weak, you should just quit on your own. Jan never saw that coming. Jian walked off, leaving behind a gaze full of terrifying, murderous intent. Not even the strongest healing magic could save her from the edge of death's door at this point. He disappeared into the shadows, and she finally snapped to. Breaking news started flashing across the screen. A massacre of instructors that shocked everyone. The student who saved the school? A total miracle. The hero's name is Minhun. Watching the report, Du's fist tightened enough to snap bone. Sounds about right. He killed the feed. Decision made. Time to stop watching from the sidelines and get in the game. This isn't how I planned it, even if I'm a bit early. Du picked up a photo, staring at its weird energy. So, you are the wild card in the prophecy. He felt a rush of pure excitement. I wonder how your story really ends, he whispered to the portrait. Want to hear the rest with me? Over at the Academy press conference, a girl stood stiff, facing a crowd of hungry reporters. Lena looked down, the silence feeling heavy. Finally, she spoke. I know you want answers, but right now, her voice turned dead serious. A new threat is hiding outside our walls. We are here to honor the spark of hope that is left, the hope that kept us alive against the darkness. A reporter in the back scribbled every word down. Now, we will honor the students. Her face was grim, her authority absolute. For their massive role in this disaster, I call these names to the stage right now. Ji-hoon and Aina stood ready, uniforms sharp, bracing themselves for the bright lights. On command, first-year Minhun and Squad 9 stepped up. Later, in a private room, Yo-jong sat there, dying of boredom. All right. Her eyes narrowed like a predator. Don't you have anything to tell us? The whole room stared at one person. Jian sighed and loosened his tie. Fine, but I can't say everything. She looked totally annoyed. Why are you so secretive? Ina jumped in to calm things down. Let me go first, she said, remembering the monster with the sword. Who was that freak that attacked us? Jian hesitated, the truth heavy on his tongue before he finally looked away. I can't give you a name. That is all I can say. Jian played it cool, putting on a mask of total nonchalance. He has business with me, and the guy is absurdly powerful. Yo-jung scoffed. You think we don't know that? Minhun crossed his arms. Exactly. Yo-jung was right. The terrifying image of Heimdall flashed through his mind. That man? He frowned, lost deep in thought. Who exactly is that monster? Seo-jun sat on the edge of the seat, waiting. 5 pairs of eyes bore into Jun, demanding the real truth. Under the pressure, his expression went stone cold. I will have to tell them sooner or later. When Ragnarok begins, he dodged their gaze. It is too soon for the whole story. Disappointment and frustration filled the room. Design and Seo-jun went back to being calm, acting as if nothing had even happened. Ji-hoon looked at his team with a helpless smile and a long sigh. Then it hit him. By the way, I hit S rank. Seo-jun jumped up, eyes wide with disbelief. What? He clutched his head, starting to spiral into a total panic. S rank? Are you insane? That is impossible. Desau patted his back. Chill out. Aina nodded, the pieces finally fitting together. So that's how you survived the duel with him. Minhun cut to the chase. Did you kill that monster? Ji-hoon's eyes turned colder than a grave. His voice was grim. No. He weighed the threat of Heimdall. If he's really the Northern Guardian, then I am destined to fight enemies on his level. Yo-young boiled with pure rage. So if it happens again, we just run? She slammed the table, screaming, You plan to fight alone again? Ji-hoon just tapped his finger on the surface, head bowed in silence. Tap, tap. The rhythmic sound echoed eerily. The room fell deathly quiet. The atmosphere felt suffocating. His eyes glowed crimson, unleashing a terrifying wave of bloodlust. Terror seized them. The blood drained from their faces in an instant. Ji-hoon's voice sliced through the heavy silence. Unless you possess power like this, you are a liability. If you hate it, become S-rank hunters. He challenged their pride. Do that, and I will never tell you to run ever again. Yo-jung hung her head, tears welling in her eyes. What the hell? That was too cruel. A chime broke the tension. Jian pulled out his phone. As he read the screen, his eyes widened in shock. Moments later, in a luxury sedan, the driver glanced back. I must say, I am surprised. The message on the screen read, VIP invitation to the auction house. Im smiled with amusement. I didn't expect you to dabble in auctions. He could not hide his curiosity. One must spend a fortune to achieve VIP status. How much have you poured into that company? Ji-hoon answered. Like he didn't have a care in the world. I lost count. but it is every single penny I own. He chuckled. Concepts like that are way beyond the grasp of a simple wage earner like myself. Their destination was a massive skyscraper that seemed to scrape the heavens. As the elevator doors slid open, manager Im and Jiune stepped out. Watching the young man walk away, the old man lowered his voice. I will remain here on standby. If anything happens, I will handle it. Just give the signal. Ji-hoon glanced back, smirking. I doubt anyone here has the guts to provoke me. The old man laughed, unable to disagree with that confidence. Indeed, Jiune strolled forward, taking in the opulent and fancy surroundings. Meanwhile, in a VIP suite dripping with total luxury, Camila sat huddled in her chair, gnawing her nails in pure terror. A deep voice broke her. Camila Bake turned his gaze toward her. Camila? He studied her closely, concern evident in his tone. Is something wrong? You have been acting strange for a while now. She softly whispered his name in response. Her eyes were glued to Ji-hoon, who sat alone in the distance. That guy over there. Do you see him? Bake followed her gaze. Ji-hoon rested his chin on his hand, his striking features drawing eyes from everyone in the room. Bake observed him, his mind flashing back to their previous encounter. That is the rookie we ran into at the hotel in Iceland. We ran a background check. Bake quickly connected the dots. He's the rising star of the Lotus Guild. Though I never heard that Lotus would be participating in this auction, Camila, still trembling, cut him off. Listen to me very carefully. Her voice dropped to a grave warning. That brat is dangerous. Bake's eyes widened in shock. What did you say? Ji-hoon sat with a calm, handsome expression, his emotions unreadable. Camila's lips quivered as she whispered the truth. The information struck Bake like a physical blow. Suddenly, the boy's gaze felt less like a human's and more like a demon staring down prey. The pressure was suffocating. He had the exact same mana signature as the Black Panther. Meanwhile, in another room, a conversation was underway. Listen, I already told you. A guy whispered into his phone. Babe, trust me. This auction is going to be cake. We started in a basement shop and look at us now. We made it. Minhun looked like he might barf, but he faked a smile anyway. One last push and we are retiring on a beach. He hung up the phone, hardening his nerves. No room for screw-ups this time. He shut his eyes, taking a massive breath to calm his shaking chest. All the big money and VIPs are here. Failure is not an option. Suddenly, Minhun spotted something totally freaky. He stared at the open window, confused. Wait, when did I open that? Then he saw it. Before he could react, his eyes bulged like they were going to explode. A huge tentacle whipped out. Smash! Blood painted the walls in a nasty, gory mess. Minhun stood paralyzed by the window, eyes wide with horror as his light slowly went out. From the dark shadows behind him, two small, delicate hands appeared. They wrapped around his neck, reaching up to gently close his eyes forever. John tilted his head, wearing a nasty grin that stretched across his face. One down, he whispered with a twisted smirk. I wonder how the one who messed with the timeline is going to react to this surprise. Back in the ballroom, Ji-hoon was basically dying of boredom until someone finally walked up to him. Never expected to run into you in a place like this. Bake stood over him, eyes full of suspicion. You have become quite the celebrity lately. Ji-hoon looked up with a fake, polite smile. Is that right? Watching from across the room, Camila turned white. She swore under her breath. That moron. What is he even doing? But Bake completely ignored everything she had warned him about. He kept drilling Jiune with questions. Exactly. He stared straight into the boy's dead, emotionless eyes. The world's only battle mage and the #1 cadet from Korea's first subjugation academy. That is you, right? That's you. Bake's stare got heavy, dripping with some seriously dangerous vibes. If the rumors are true, it makes sense why the European Union is stalking you. But you look totally bored. Truly an honor, for sure. Since Ji-hoon didn't flinch, Bake shut up and looked over at Camila. Bake remembered a massive secret. Camila's unique skill, man. It was an ability very few people knew about, a supernatural X-ray that could peer into the very core of a person and read their mana structure. Just like everyone has their own DNA, every warrior has a unique mana signature and element. It is just like a fingerprint. Everyone has a mana structure that belongs only to them. Bake turned and walked away, though his mind was a total storm of confusion. How is that possible? The question kept bugging him. How can two totally different people have the exact same mana signature? He sat back down, totally restless. No matter how I look at it, this should be impossible. Finally, he muttered to himself. We will find the truth today. Bake's eyes were sharp as razors. He was determined to expose Jiune's real identity. Was this kid actually the Black Panther? Camila looked at him with pure disgust. She dropped a nasty insult. That high and mighty attitude of yours? I bet that is exactly why your wife dumped you. I guarantee it. Bake snapped back with a low growl. Shut your mouth. Meanwhile, Jiune watched them with eyes that glowed like stars. Suddenly, the huge chandelier above flickered and went dark. Darkness swallowed the room and confused whispers swept through the crowd. Click, clack! The sound of fancy dress shoes against marble echoed from the distance. Some guy in a sharp suit stepped into the spotlight and cleared his throat. Welcome, honored guests. Minhun stood there like a straight-up zombie, repeating his lines like a broken record. Welcome, guests. He kept droning on, but June totally ignored him. Lost in thought, he tuned everything out. I only need one thing. On stage, Minhun's eyes rolled into the back of his head. But he kept going. Let the auction begin. Check out the first item. He pointed to a glowing red gem pulsing with light. The Transcendence Stone. June finally squinted at Minhun. A deep frown lines his forehead. Something is definitely off with that host. Whatever. He brushed it off and locked his eyes on the prize. The Transcendence Stone. One tiny piece wasn't enough to fix his powers by itself. However, the specs of the Grade B Transcendence Ring flashed in his mind. It temporarily overclocks mana. It was a flawed item with some major drawbacks. But June looked determined. If I pop this stone into that ring, the result is going to be legendary. Minhun's voice stayed dead. Let us begin. Hearing that, June's lips curled into a confident little smirk. June didn't blink. I have been waiting for this. He raised his hand high. 10 million, he declared with total confidence. A cold sweat broke out across the entire hall. Whispers spread through the crowd like a wildfire. Even Bach had to double-take at that mess. Juan and I just sat there like ice while he worked the room. We are at 10 million. Anyone else? Before the guy could even finish, another hand shot straight up. 1 million, Boach barked, sounding dead serious. Camila's jaw hit the floor. What is he thinking? June stayed chill. 12 million. Bach leaned his hand on his chin and gave a heavy sigh. He was done playing. Not going a penny higher. Camila looked like she was about to wreck his face. June stopped playing nice. His eyes went cold, staring straight through his rival. You trying to bait me? Boach definitely got the hint. After a second, he sent a look right back at him. Nah, I was just curious about the rock. Boach locked eyes with June, sending a telepathic message through his stare. But I am out. I have zero interest in paying that much cash. Finally, June squinted and flashed a smug grin. Oh, really? I almost thought you were actually serious there. Boach was absolutely fuming in silence at that response. What a jerk. I didn't think he had the guts to be that bold. Bach's veins were popping. Is he actually threatening me? Does this guy have some big shot backer I missed? He was glaring so hard his eyes might actually snap. Only one question was on his mind. What is this dude up to? Suddenly, the whole room erupted in applause. June won the bid. But while everyone was cheering, he was stuck deep inside his own head, overthinking everything. That should have been the end. The last thing on the list was a Grade A artifact for status resistance. June checked its potential. Totally useless. I already have the Blessing of Hell. Why would I need some cheap resistance? He was ready to bail, but then the host, Minhun, started talking again with the creepiest look in his eyes. And now, we have a little surprise for everyone. June stopped dead in his tracks, completely blindsided by the news. A top-tier S-rank artifact, the host rasped. I hope you guys like it. June literally could not believe his ears. This was not on the program. That last thing was supposed to be the end. So, what is going on? Nobody mentioned a special edition. Minhun kept his voice totally flat. The owner will come out and explain it themselves. Huge applause greeted a figure emerging from the shadows. Yan stepped right out into the bright spotlight. She loved the attention, totally chill, but June's face dropped immediately. He got this weird, nasty feeling in his gut. When he finally saw her face, pure terror hit every inch of his body. John didn't even bother looking at him. She just introduced herself. Hey there, I am the seller. The bracelet on her arm started glowing while she talked. Let me show you the artifact called Drare. June locked his eyes onto her, the only person in the entire room. John was putting off this terrifying alien vibe that made her stand out from the crowd. He tensed up hard. He looked ready to lung across the floor and end her life right then and there. Her lips moved, whispering a voice that only June could catch. I just need a couple seconds, so stay still for me. Suddenly, nasty energy leaked from Drare. It was a legendary gold bracelet. It multiplies 8 times every 9 days. The air felt like a nightmare. But she just gave a little smile. There is a little price to pay. Red tentacles burst from the gold, whipping around at everyone in sight. The Eye of Odin activated inside June. This is not good. He got ready for the hit, but nothing. It missed him. Pure shock was written all over his face. He realized something terrifying. My absolute calculation is completely failing right now. It is useless here. That was not just magic. It was the pure, crazy power of Dropney coming to life. The artifact's true form. While June checked the energy, those tentacles went wild, wiping out the crowd in a second. Strangely, the monster didn't even try to attack Bach or Camila. It just left them alone. Bach's temper flared up immediately. What the heck are you doing? He yelled. John's response was cold and totally heartless. Trash belongs in the bin, she sneered. I am only here to deal with my real enemy today. June's face darkened. His disgust felt like a heavy physical weight in the air. He remembered her smug smile from the hallway. His gut had been screaming that something was off since the beginning. Everything finally made sense. So, June said coldly, you were just Isaiah's little pet. The insult hit perfectly. Her eyes narrowed dangerously. Isaiah's pet? That is so rude. Couldn't you think of a better title for a goddess? June ignored her ego entirely. What do you want? His voice sliced through the room like a cold blade. Honestly, John sighed. You were starting to get annoying. June was about to lose it. I guess I. He cut her off. I'm not letting your plan work. Not today. Bach and Camilla powered up their auras, ready for a fight. But John threw her head back, laughing like a total psycho. Haha, that sound? It was pure mockery. Dangerous as hell, but entertaining. She breathed out, her face twisting into a nasty nightmare grin. I bought enough time. Her mouth unhinged like a dark void. Devour. Everything shifted instantly. Tentacles exploded with light, turning into titans that skewered the crowd in one heartbeat. Even Camilla, used to death, froze at the carnage. Boach lunged for blood, but Camilla blocked his strike immediately. Wait, Boach yelled, eyes full of rage. Move it, we have to save those people. Camilla's voice shook. I'm not stopping you, she spat, totally terrified. But rushing in now is suicide. That artifact is a mystery. John clapped from the shadows. Well, you're a smart one. If you jumped in, those souls would have vanished forever. Don't sweat it, though they're still breathing. That didn't help June at all. Still alive? June scanned the area. You don't do mercy. Oh, they're savable, just sleeping, she teased, stuck in a deep coma. June started doing the math. If this is mana, I've got seconds. John kept lecturing. I just stripped away their greed. Without that, their weak egos just broke. June froze. Did that thing just eat their emotions? A memory of Hu Jun flashed by. Is this his power? John laughed, loving her brilliance. Humans are a joke. Steal their feelings and they're just empty shells. June's vibe turned ice cold. Shut it, he snapped. Fix them now, she smirked. And if I don't? Whoosh, June vanished. In a flash, John was slammed down, her hand getting crushed under his brutal, merciless grip. The killing intent from June was insane, just pure violence. I will make you beg to fix them. John's eyes went wide with shock. How'd he get so close? Paralyzed, her eyes couldn't even follow him. June coldly grabbed her middle finger. John started sweating as the real terror finally hit. Quiet. Crack. The bone snapped. Camilla watched the whole brutal show with a stone-cold face. Boach stood there like a statue. John writhed, sweat pouring as the agony spiked through her. June let go of the broken finger and grabbed the next. Next, he said. John looked horrified. She screamed, Get off me, you punk! Suddenly, her bracelet started glowing with a creepy red light. June's eyes locked on the light. A gate opened. Digital blue particles started swirling around their feet. Boach stood there, totally stunned. Camilla gasped, unable to find any words. June looked down and sighed. The system warnings were screaming in red. Big trouble was coming. They were dropping into a hidden dungeon, the Valley of Greed. When the light died, June was alone. Pain racked her body as she struggled to stand, cursing. Damn it all. June's eyes burned with pure vengeance. Unforgivable. I am never forgiving him. But her anger stopped fast. A voice cut through the dead silence. Well, this is a total mess. Dugan crouched down, acting like he actually cared about her injuries. You okay, sister? He flashed a smile that didn't reach his eyes warm on top, but freezing underneath. Meanwhile, Jae-Hun's crew landed in total darkness. The MC just sighed. Honestly, he was bored. His face was totally blank, showing nothing. Camilla looked back, her mind racing. What is even happening? The tension was heavy enough to choke someone. It felt like those two had some serious bad history. She called Jae-Hyun a name that shouldn't exist. Bake could see the suspicion in her eyes. Looks like we're thinking the same thing, he whispered coldly. That name? You heard it too, right? He stared ahead. June stood perfectly still, like a spear. He was a figure of absolute, terrifying stillness. Bake remembered June's face. The despair when she called him arch-nemesis. That broke his focus. He confirmed it. I missed the start, but that's what she called him. I'd bet my life on it. Suddenly, a voice boomed from the ancient gates. You are unworthy. These ruins belong to the nemesis. Camilla stayed quiet, eyes jumping between Bake and the MC. Then, the tension finally snapped like a wire. Bake finally turned to face the big issue. Jae-Hyun turned his head slowly, just waiting. Bake moved fast. Cold steel hit Jae-Hun's neck. Interrogation time, he hissed. Are you the sinner? The one who trashed all the ruins? Jae-Hyun looked down. Silence stretched for a second. Jae-Hyun groaned. Seriously? You want to chat right now? He narrowed his eyes, totally annoyed. Bake didn't waste any time. He brought his blade down hard. Pink crystal shards sprayed everywhere as the ground exploded. Through the dust, Bake's eyes looked totally unhinged, straight up murderous. But ahead, a sea of glowing red eyes appeared. A massive shadow crawled out. A beast of shadows stepped forward, making the ground quake. Bake ground his teeth, visibly frustrated. Meanwhile, June rubbed her aching hand. A mythical-grade artifact. Its power was honestly off the charts. Dugan threw his hands up, acting cheerful as usual. It even opened a dimension gate. Amazing. June just scowled. Do not get any bright ideas. I am not handing it over. Dugan's face went stone cold. June kept talking. Besides, you have already got something way more valuable. The smile returned to Dugan's face, greasy and fake. Fair point, he smirked. Talk over. So, Dugan asked, think you can actually control Dropar and restore the Fafnir clan's power? June grimaced, side-eyeing him, her voice sinking to a low whisper. No, the thing is unstable. I can't fully control it yet. But that doesn't mean we will fail to hunt down our nemesis and those two weaklings. Dugan stayed quiet, plotting his next move. Then he did something nobody expected. Dugan stroked his chin, flashing a blindingly bright grin. Maybe I won't have to lift a finger. He looked satisfied. For now, anyway. Back in the dungeon, it was total chaos. Energy slashes ripped through the air, turning pink crystals to dust. Jae-hyun's eyes were wide and primal. He was a literal whirlwind of violence. Wherever he moved, enemies dropped dead. Still, his face stayed blank as he gripped his weapon, Draenir the necklace June wore. It was a mythical artifact. She used it to rip open this gate. No telling if she built this dungeon or just warped us here. But one thing is for sure, she didn't build this place with just her own strength. But with a mythical artifact, the impossible happens. Surrounded by monsters, Bake's sword erupted in a beam of pure white light. His blue eyes burned with total, unwavering resolve. Absolute calculation won't work here, Jae-hyun realized. This isn't a skill or a curse. Camila stood nearby, calm in the storm. It is definitely the power of that artifact. June shoved his hands in his pockets, looking cold and analytical. That has to be the second legendary item, not counting Heimdall's horn. A faint smirk touched Jian's lips. I have decided. I am taking it. After a brutal fight, the very last monster finally collapsed. The dungeon went dead silent again. Bake broke the quiet. He stepped in close, his voice sounding low and dangerous. Let me ask again, Jae-hyun. Are you the Black Renegade? He didn't deny it. Yeah, that is me. Lying would only make things worse. The answer hit Bake like a truck. A murderous aura started pouring off him. Then tell me, are you really an enemy of humanity? Why save everyone during the training incident then? Why play hero? Are you just some hypocrite? Jae-hyun kept his mouth shut. The silence hung heavy until Jae-hyun finally decided to speak. Look, I am not some hero chasing destiny or a noble cause. Bale snapped. Then what are you? But Jae-hyun cut him off. I don't treat everyone as an enemy, even if my logic seems twisted to you. Bale paused, glancing at Camila. Finally, he glared at Jae-hyun, his eyes wide and full of intensity. Then tell me, what are these standards of yours? Jae-hyun frowned, locking eyes with Bale in a silent battle of wills. Jae-hyun gave his answer with chilling indifference. It depends entirely on what kind of mood I am in. Camila let out a frustrated gasp. Are you seriously messing with us? Jae-hyun looked down, casually scratching his head. It is nothing special. Suddenly, he leaned in, his voice dropping to a menacing whisper right in Bale's ear. I will do whatever it takes to protect the people I care about. That was all he said. Total silence until Bale gritted his teeth and grabbed Jae-hyun's collar, roaring in frustration. You could have killed me at the ruins. If you had finished me off then, your identity would have stayed a perfect secret. Suddenly, a sword energy erupted. Destructive power exploded, blinding them both in a flash of brilliant white light. Bale let go. The memory of that cloaked figure flashed in his mind. He exhaled slowly, letting the tension fade. But you didn't do it. Bale made his choice, eyes sharp. Fine. But given those fickle standards of yours, I'll be watching your every move. The tension finally broke, and Camila let out a long breath. Honestly, I'm usually a solo player. She looked at the two men. But right now, teaming up is our only shot. Jae-hyun narrowed his eyes, sizing her up. A smirk tugged at his lips. You catch on faster than I thought. Suddenly, Jae-hyun's whole vibe flipped. He rubbed his neck, his voice turning straight up ice cold. But for your own sake, I suggest you take my secret to the grave. Scene transition. A blade sliced the air. White energy shredded everything, sounding like metal screaming. That poor orc did not stand a single chance. A huge force slammed into it, sending the body flying back. The weight of 1,000 mountains crushed that monster into the dirt. Bale slammed his sword down, standing like a boss with the beast under his boot. Bale wiped his forehead and spoke up. I have never seen a dragon this powerful before. Know anything about it? June replied coolly. Nah, I never felt anything like this. Not even when I was fighting those dark elves. But these dungeon monsters are way stronger than their rank actually says they are. Some hidden dungeon trick? We gotta be careful. Bale sheathed his sword, pushing them to keep moving. That is not our main problem right now. Let's move. Camila nodded. That lady claimed the auction survivors are still breathing. We gotta hurry if we are going to save them. Jae-hun watched them walk away for a second. Then he stopped, looking around like he was hunting for someone invisible. The area ahead was empty and dead silent. Suddenly, his red eyes glowed. System alert. The Nonia system is activating an active skill, reconnaissance. June squinted and breathed out hard. He suddenly yelled, making the others stop in their tracks. Hold up, I think someone is over there. Camila turned around, totally confused. What? We just passed. She watched him from afar, confused. There was absolutely nothing there just a second ago. Then Camila smirked and lowered her voice. Actually, now that you mention it, I suddenly sense a massive source of mana coming from that direction. It is huge. System alert. The path to the lower level of the Valley of Greed has automatically appeared. Meanwhile, a guy yelled as his bracelet started glowing crazy. He squinted, staring at the artifact really hard. His brain was doing the math. The target is moving way faster than I expected. What did he even do? Back with the squad, Jawan looked at Bale, looking serious. I am taking point from now on. I think they are tracking me specifically. Bale got it instantly. Just like those ruins. June smirked, nodding. Exactly. Though their goal here is the total opposite of that. Bale's eyes went dark while he stared at Jae-hun. Finally, he nodded. Fine, I will cover our backs. Bale gave one last order. Camila, stay in the middle and back us up. Camila rolled her eyes and looked away silently. She watched his stiff, stubborn back. After Bale finished giving out his instructions and moved into position, Camila stepped up to Jae-hyun and tapped him lightly on the shoulder. He turned slowly to face her. Camila gave a playful smile, but her question hit hard. You seem totally different from when we were at the ruins. So which one is the real you? He sighed, sounding totally bored and cold. Both are me. Does not everyone have two sides to them? Bathed in that weird blue glow of the energy orbs, Jae-hyun, Camila, and Bale all stood back to back. The air crackled with tension. They were ready for war. Jae-hyun's face stayed totally calm. System alert. The Nonia system is activating an active skill, reconnaissance. The path to the lower level of the Valley of Greed has appeared. Quest. Kill the boss monster, Greedy Fafnir, and go back home. Jae-hun narrowed his eyes, thinking fast. Fafnir, the dragon of greed. He was once a dwarf who tried to steal cursed treasure from the gods. He was blinded by gold, unable to beat the darkness of his own greed. Totally obsessed, he killed his dad and kicked out his brother just to hoard the loot. But paranoia started eating at him. Scared someone would find his stash, he turned into a dragon and disappeared into the shadows with all that gold. The Valley of Greed. This has to be where he has been hiding out all this time. But more importantly, he is a dragon destined to fall by the hand of a dragon slayer. Jae-hyun's eyes flashed as he gripped his sword. He finally spoke up. We gotta be careful from now on. Camila and Bale's eyes went wide, staring at the insane scene unfolding right in front of them. A blinding wave of energy exploded ahead. The system window suddenly popped into existence. You have found the lair of Fafnir. Camila's voice dropped to a shocked whisper. Fafnir? Bale asked, sounding totally stunned. The dragon from the legends? Jae-hyun didn't waste time answering. His voice was just low and steady. Let us go inside. A furious gale of energy swept them up. 3 silhouettes vanished, swallowed by a fracturing dimension of brilliant golden light. June looked down as the whole world twisted around them. When he woke up, the vibe was totally different. Mountains of gold coins stacked to the ceiling, glowing in the shadows. June scanned the room, total curiosity. Where is this? Camila just stared, her mouth hanging open in pure shock. This is exactly how I pictured a dragon's lair. Bake stayed cool as ice, scanning for any sign of movement. Stay sharp, the beast is gonna show up soon. Camila grabbed her staff, nodding with a dead serious face. Got it. They fanned out, senses dialed up to 10. Suddenly, right near Jae-hyun, a single gold coin tumbled down. Clink. It hit the floor with a sharp ring. The coin spun, wobbling until it stopped right at his feet. Jae-hyun's eyes snapped toward the sound. The silence was officially over. The ground started shaking like an earthquake. Massive, ugly claws ripped through the gold. Fafnir had finally arrived. A massive shockwave rocked the whole dungeon. Jun didn't move an inch, just watched how the beast shifted its weight. The dragon stepped out a monster covered in scales, way tougher than any steel you have ever seen. Its eyes flared open. Burning gold pupils, sharp as jagged knives, stared them down with zero chill. With a nasty, scraping sound, the monster narrowed its eyes. It looked at them like they were literal, pathetic bugs. System alerts flooded his vision. Abyss boss Fafnir of Greed has appeared. Boss level dropped because of penalties. Still, you are the first to ever face an S+ rank boss monster. Fafnir loomed over Jae-hun, letting out a scream that basically broke the sky. Camila covered her ears, swearing. It is nerfed and it is still S rank? That is actually insane. June didn't say a word, just stood there looking cool. Finally, he spoke up. We can take this thing. He looked at B. Remember that? A memory hit them, metal clashing, two guys moving way too fast to see. White energy sliced through the air, literally tearing the room into pieces. Bake had ended them all with one clean, brutal strike. He smirked behind his mask. Who said there is only one Balmong? Camilla's jaw hit the floor. Jae-hun raised his hand, mana going wild. Skill active, true demon treasure. You have created the Dragon Slayer sword, Balmong S. Jae-hyun grabbed the hilt, heart racing. Looks like we are lucky today, he laughed. 2 Balmongs are better than 1. He looked at Bake. That boosts our chances, right? The swordsman looked down, his voice totally steady. No doubt about it. Both men gripped their blades tight. Victory was finally within their reach. Special effect of Balmong activated. Jae-hyun's mouth lifted. Passive skill is now live. Dragon Slayer. All damage against dragons up by 300%. Camilla yelled, "This lizard wants to fry us!" Fafnir roared. Its mouth opened wide, spitting out a wave of breath hot as liquid fire. The floor turned into orange sludge. It hissed and bubbled. Stone was literally melting in a heartbeat. Boom! A huge stomp crushed the lava pool, sending burning drops flying everywhere like literal death rain. Jae-hyun and Beck charged together. "We will be the bait," Jae-hyun yelled. "Camilla, blast it with everything." He moved like a shadow, dodging through the fire and slicing the air itself in that blaze. Jae-hyun spun, facing Fafnir head-on. Camilla wasn't just a mage. She's a battle mage whose combat skills might even blow Jae-hyun's out of the water. Time to see what one of the world's strongest mages can really do. He gave a cocky grin. His eyes burned with resolve. He pumped mana into his legs and leaped. He flew through the air, landing right on Fafnir's huge back. Jae-hyun gave the signal. "Camilla, how long for the curse?" Bake watched the dragon, zero fear in his eyes, even facing certain death. The monster's mouth dropped open, teeth ready to snap shut like a trap. June gripped his sword. As those jaws slammed down, he twisted his body, barely missing a trip to the afterlife. Camilla's voice cracked through. 20 seconds. Bake didn't blink. Got it. We will buy you that time. Jae-hyun dropped low, boots sliding across scales to stop himself. 20 seconds, he whispered. Piece of cake. Jae-hyun breathed out a cloud of mist. Skill active. Frozen earth. Suddenly, a brutal chill exploded, turning the lava floor into a white wasteland of ice. Frost surged everywhere. Thick ice spread crazy fast, eating up every single gold coin in its path. Ice-cold destruction screams through the chamber. Ji-yoon is standing right at the very center of this total disaster. He looks tiny next to those massive, jagged glaciers. Fafnir lets out a crazy roar and dives headfirst into the frozen dark. Bake spots a gap and yells, "Camilla, do it now! Fire off your main skill!" That water spirit is just chilling on the staff, acting all cool while chaos erupts. Camilla throws her hand up high. Boom, a giant golden magic circle ignites right behind her. Deep red light starts spinning into a wild vortex. Gravity hits like a freight train. Then, a massive beam of red energy just straight up deletes the ground. Lethal spears rip through the air like a waterfall of steel. Even the breeze freezes from all that pure edge. On the other side, she just flicks her wrist and summons a literal storm of pitch-black spears. They rain down like a dark flood, just erasing everything in sight. Watching the wreck, Ji-yoon actually smirks. Sick, Camilla looks cold as ice as she points dead ahead. Red energy beams start blasting everywhere from the center of the madness. Fafnir screams, showing off those nasty fangs as the dark storm surrounds him. The beast reaches its neck way up. It stares at the sky, looking totally shocked and stressed. Ji-yoon narrows his eyes, scanning those weird reverse scales on the dragon's neck. Bake looks at Fafnir. Yeah, they both know it. That spot right there is the weak point. A glowing blue cross slash hits the dragon directly, but he just scoffs. It did absolutely nothing. Beck checks the monster's stats and size. Looks like he didn't even take 1 point of damage. Ji-yoon and Beck look up at Fafnir, who is still totally fine. His eyes glow with evil power while a growl rattles the earth. Ji-yoon watches the beast, keeping his face totally blank. He looks at Beck. Nah, something is different now. Then, a deep, raspy voice cuts through the air. Yes. Ji-yoon's eyes go wide as he whips his head around. It is Fafnir. The dragon is staring right at them. Wait, he's talking. I need more gold. After he finishes, he opens his mouth and breathes pure destruction. A heavy, dull thud shakes the entire sky. The shockwave goes nuclear, completely swallowing Ji-yoon's shadow in the middle of the explosion. Camilla grits her teeth and covers her ears. The blast is so loud it might pop their eardrums. That huge ice block just vanishes. Thousands of sharp ice shards fly everywhere. Fafnir starts flapping those massive red wings like a madman. A brutal wind blows everything back. As he roars at the sky, the dragon gnaws his teeth and spits out one word. Gross, Odin, that ring that makes gold. Ji-yoon's eyes go wide. Wait, what? Why is he bringing up Odin? Then, the beast does something even crazier. Fafnir grabs his face in total pain. Gold, Fafnir, Odin. How do these three fit together? Jiyun remembers reading about this while he was researching the Einherjar a few days ago. The Ring of Anvari, a magic item that spits out infinite gold but sticks the owner with a nasty curse. The gods cursed the gold that Fafnir stole. That has to be the ring he's yelling about right now. Looking at how crazy he is, that curse is still messing with him. We thought the reverse scale was the weak spot, so we hit it. Totally useless. Jiyuni's brain starts racing. That means we missed the mark. So where is his actual weakness? It hits him. Jiyun whispers. The source of the curse. He looks at Fafnir, suspicious. Fair, do you still have that ring? Jiyun gives the signal to Bake. Looks like he can talk. Let me deal with this. The dragon shifts his glowing eyes toward the kid and waits. Fafnir gnaws his teeth, looking lost. What? Why is a puny human even here? Jiyune just stares up and drops the big question. Did Odin play you and your family too? Hearing that, the dragon looks down, getting lost in some old memory. Fafnir's voice shakes with sadness. Yeah, they're all gone. My whole family, that jerk Odin. He wiped them all out. Camilla covers her face from the dust, listening to the dragon's sad story. Jiyune just stands there, blank face, looking up. Finally, he opens his mouth. Looks like history twisted another legend. If I remember right, Thor got forced into submission back in that Acier dungeon. It's way different from the actual myths. Even his sister Rosva was snatched. Looking at this, it's pretty obvious Odin and the Acer gods jumped Fafnir's family first. Jiyun makes an offer. I'll break that curse and help you get some payback for your family. Before he can finish, the dragon starts losing it again. Odin, I hate him. Odin! June swears under his breath. Damn it. Did he lose his mind again? Looks like talking isn't going to solve this anymore. Beck watches Jiyun muttering to thin air and loses it. Hey Jiyun, what is with the weird vibes? Were you just talking to Fafnir or what? Jiyun locks up. Hold on, you guys did not hear him? Beck shakes his head hard. All I heard was Fafnir screaming like a wild animal. Camilla chimes in. Same here. Sounds like it is just you, man. Shake it off. I am firing up my magic detection skill right now. If you won't back down, then I am making you stop. Jiyun feels the energy shift. Wait, he yells, his eyes going wide. Suddenly, it clicks. Jiyune found the sweet spot. The weak point is that ring tucked right under the scales on the dragon's forehead. Camilla and Beck, hanging back on the side, instantly snap to attention when they hear the sudden new intel. Beck cuts his eyes to the side. Camilla catches the look, and they share a silent moment of total understanding. They stood back to back in a flawless formation. I have got your 6, she said, stepping up to back him up. I am leaning on you, Beck. Suddenly, a blow packed with world-ending power crashed straight into Fafnir's only weak spot. But life is a glitch. Nothing happened. Beck just stood there, paralyzed, staring at the monster's insane armor in pure shock. He gnashed his teeth, swearing under his breath. Damn it, his hide is tougher than a steel vault. I just need one solid opening. If I can just break through that armor. Beck squeezed his fists until his knuckles turned white, silently deciding to gamble everything on this one big play. Even if I have to burn through my own life force, I am landing this hit. Then, Jae-Hun's voice sliced through the tension from behind. Move. In a flash, Jae-Hun whipped out a skill card and crushed it, soaking up its power in a heartbeat. The system window popped up in front of him. You have successfully recorded Garden of Swords onto the blank card. The details appeared. Passive skill, Garden of Swords. Rank is unique. Here is the effect. It pushes every sword skill to its absolute peak. This was the core secret behind the legendary invisible sword art. As mana surged through his veins like a wildfire, a wicked little smirk played across Jae-Hun's face. Finally, I have got the missing piece. He gripped his blade, eyes turning cold as ice. His focus became sharp as a razor. Mana surged from the steel, crushing together until the very air started screaming. He was ready for the final execution. Beck watched that spinning vortex of energy, his whole body going stiff with pure wonder. There was no doubt in Beck's mind that was the fabled invisible sword art. Jae-Hun breathed deep, clearing his head. Aim for 1 point. Just gotta hit one tiny spot and push through. In that split second, the system gave another chime. Activating active skill. Invisible sword art second form. Phantom slash, boom. Mana burst out like a broken dam. A terrifying pressure came crashing down, making the heavens and the earth tremble. Jae-Hun's blade shrieked through the sky, shredding Fafnir's impossible scales like they were cheap tissue paper. Mana flooded through the wounds like a lethal virus, tearing the beast apart from the inside. Beck stood frozen, his eyes shaking. He actually pulled it off. A cocky grin spread over Jae-Hun's face, but he was not finished yet. The system flashed the next stage, unlocking God-tier power. The text glowed dark, activating active skill, might of the Thunder God. Everything went to hell after that. What is even happening? Camilla's eyes nearly popped out as her jaw hit the floor. Where is that power coming from? Crimson lightning crawled over the blade like a web, making a high-pitched sound that split the sky. Under that insane pressure, the ring of Anvari was ripped straight out of Fafnir's massive, scaly body. The ring spun wildly in the chaotic mana flow, its golden light fading out, losing the fight against that brutal sea of red lightning. Suddenly, the ring's surface started to snap. Jae-Hun's heart hammered. Total victory flashed in his eyes. I did it. The cursed item shattered into a million pieces, dissolving into nothing before the mana swallowed it whole. The system pinged immediately. You have destroyed the ring of Anvari. Heavy iron chains appeared from nowhere, pinning Fafnir down and crushing his last stand. The giant dragon dropped, hitting the frozen ground with a massive thud. Dust exploded upward like a giant mushroom cloud. Without missing a beat, the whole squad sprinted toward the downed beast. Right then, the system barked. Odin has lost control over Fafnir. The dragon's eyes, once full of rage, started to blink. A second later, that creepy glow died out completely. Fafnir finally looked like he could see straight again. As the dust settled, Jae-Hun reached out, using his mana to pin the battlefield down with a freezing glare. The dragon's massive body was locked to the dirt, unable to even twitch. Camilla whispered, "Was that the invisible sword art just now? Right?" Beck just nodded. Yeah. He went quiet under her questions, just staring at that insane red lightning power. Wait, what was that? Camilla stared at him, totally dying of curiosity. I thought that required the Garden of Sword skill. How did he do it? Bake sighed, his voice dropping to a serious whisper. Let's stay on his good side. Jae-Hyun stood there with his hands in his pockets, just staring the creature down. You ready to explain everything now? You're running out of time, dragon. Fafnir let out a happy roar. It's finally time. The beast's lips pulled back, showing off massive, razor-sharp teeth glowing in the dark. Yeah, you earned the right to hear this. Human, the one who finally set me free. Fafnir's voice shook the cave. I'll give you the truth, you're looking for the whole disaster. It all started when this one guy showed up. He talked super slow, his voice heavy, like reading from an ancient, gross book. My dad was a famous dwarf. He had 3 sons, and I was the middle child of the crew. Fafnir kept telling his sad story. My big brother actually had magic. He would turn into an otter to go fishing for us. Then his voice got really sad. One day, he just never came back. The memory hit Fafnir hard. We waited forever for him to come home. That dark night was burned into the dragon's brain. When night fell, a new visitor knocked on our door. The beast said the guy called himself a tired traveler. He begged to stay, saying it was too dark to travel. As payment for the room, he offered us an animal pelt. Fafnir's voice cracked with pain. That pelt looked way too familiar. It was an otter skin, my brother, the one who disappeared into the night. Fafnir was crushed. He never made it home. We got him back, but only as a piece of leather. My dad lost it. He screamed my brother's name, crying for the son he'd never see again. Pure hate flared up in the dragon's eyes. The traveler realized he'd messed up big time. Since I killed your family, he said, let me fix it. I'll give you enough gold to cover this pelt completely, Fafnir continued. He swung his staff, and I remember it like it was yesterday. Gold started raining from thin air. The dragon's voice got deeper. Those coins buried the fur pelt completely. But on top of all that, gold sat a single ring. A shadow fell over his face. It was a cursed, beautiful thing. None of us could look away from it. Fafnir stared into nothing, his spirit lost in a tragic past. That ring literally twisted the air around us. The sad ending is the monster standing here now. June thought for a second. So that traveler was Odin? The answer was final. Yeah, it was Odin. But you don't look surprised at all. The hunter rubbed his neck and let out a long sigh. I've seen enough crazy stuff lately to not be shocked by this. Suddenly, Fafnir's huge body started turning to mist. He hissed in pain, his voice breaking into tiny pieces. I'm out of time. Fafnir struggled to get his final words out with his last breath. I've got one last question. He looked desperate for the truth. Human, who are you? Jae-Hyun looked away. You ever heard of Ragnarok? The dragon froze, his eyes drooping, and asked quietly, do you mean June cut him off? I'm the big bad of the prophecy, destined to destroy Asgard. He stayed calm. At least, that's what they say anyway. Hearing that, Fafnir looked totally shocked, his eyes wide enough to pop. He finally got it. Fafnir choked back his anger. Earlier, you promised you would get revenge on my behalf. The hunter didn't hesitate. I've got my own score to settle with that jerk myself. I'll just add your revenge to my list. That calmed the beast. A hiss escaped his teeth. He felt a mix of petty joy and old anger. Perfect, Fafnir judged him. Your divinity is shaky, though. I know you'll win. I'm giving you a gift. June stopped, shocked. A gift? Fafnir looked at him with total trust. It will serve you well in all the battles to come. His eyes closed, his voice fading out. I just hope you find some peace on your journey. That was his final word. Fafnir's eyes shut, and his breathing stopped forever. Suddenly, a screen flashed. You're the first player to ever successfully kill a dragon. He stood there in silence before talking to the air. Rest easy. I'll get him for you. The system beeped. Reward for killing Fafnir, you leveled up 3 times. Activating plunder skill. Absorbing Fafnir's divinity. Your divinity stat went up. New title earned. Dragon Hunter. You just got Fafnir's gift. June stared at the hologram like he had seen a ghost. Item received. Dragon egg. His eyes popped. An actual dragon egg. He reached out without thinking. The egg buzzed, dropping gently into his palm. The other hunters finally snapped out of it, charging toward June in total awe and exhaustion. Bake growled, eyes sharp as glass. Looks like the fight is done, but I have a ton of questions for you. He stepped forward, radiating some seriously heavy pressure. How the hell did you pull off my unique skill? Our hero stood dead still, eyes low, freezing like a statue while the tension hit the ceiling. Seconds later, Jae-hyun finally spoke, sounding totally cold and detached. I cannot explain the details, and I have no reason to. He looked up. More importantly, one thing remains. Beck's face twisted into a look of deep thought. One last thing. Jae-hyun glanced back. A creepy smile hit his lips, his eyes cold and empty, like a dark pit without feeling. Right then, the system screen popped up in front of Jun. Active skill triggered. Conquest shift. Inside the massive hall, the air itself literally ripped apart. A portal opened, sending blue energy waves everywhere. One by one, 3 people stepped out of the void. Camila scanned the room and froze. There, slumped in a dark corner, lay Minhun, totally passed out. Bake snapped, sounding harsh. Where are the others? She sounded calm but stressed out. They have finally woken up from the coma. But Camila knelt, checking over the older guy. Her voice dropped, sounding heavy with dread. They have absolutely no strength left. If we leave them, they will die. Bake looked totally confused. Can you not just use some healing magic? She sighed, feeling useless. You know I am a Vanguard class. My healing magic is super basic at best. Bake gripped his fist. Better than nothing. While you do first aid, we will call for backup from the Junhua Guild. But June cut him off fast. That will be too late. He marched right into the center of the room. He stared at the bodies, lying scattered and helpless all over the cold floor. A weird smile hit June's lips, looking totally dangerous. He turned, and a blinding golden light exploded from him. Suddenly, glowing gold streams appeared from nowhere, swirling around his body. The system voice broke the silence. Active skill triggered. Sacrifice. The sight left Camila totally frozen in shock. No way. Her brain screamed no. Minhun was a battle mage, a genius with swords and magic for fighting, not healing. Her mind was a mess, but she could not deny the truth. No battle mage could ever pull off healing magic this big. Golden light particles floated up from all the passed-out bodies. They danced through the air, circling June like glowing fireflies. Camila swallowed hard, her throat feeling bone dry. Nobody in history had ever done this. Then she saw it. A massive pair of wings opened from his back. She stood frozen, a million questions racing through her head. That form, what is it? And that insane magic. Suddenly, it hit her like a punch to the gut. Her face went white, eyes popping in total disbelief. Sacrifice. That is a saint-unique skill. How can you? Jae-hyun, deep voice, cut her off. I already told you. Stop asking questions. Cold sweat dripped down Bake's pale face. A warning flashed in his head. The unwritten rule. He had known it for a while. Never question the guy. Never say a word about who he really is. Bake finally got it. After that brutal fight with Fafnir, he knew Minhun was a beast. He drifted into deep thought. The rumors did not even capture half of this monster's real power. A few seconds later, the wings started to fade. They dissolved into dim sparks of light, vanishing into thin air. Jun quickly looked back over his shoulder. The room went back to normal. It felt like the miracle they just saw was nothing but a quick illusion. He looked down at Minhun. Hey, you awake yet? The older guy eyebrow twitched. His lips shook before he groaned softly. Minhun bolted upright. He grabbed his throbbing head, sounding totally confused. What the hell just happened? Jun stopped him immediately. Stay still. You are safe now. Then the kid pressed on. I know you are tired, but I need answers. His eyes sharpened. Right before this, a pale girl came looking for you, did she not? Minhun froze in place. His face went stiff. Now that you mention it, Minhun looked guilty. I am sorry. I blacked out the second she showed up. He rubbed his temples, fighting the leftover pain. He took a heavy, shaky breath. I do not remember what happened next, but one thing is stuck in my head. Minhun continued, his voice shaking. When I got near her, tentacles burst out of her body and attacked. He looked totally defeated. Sorry, I was not more help. John slowly stood up. Nah, that is plenty. He reached out a hand. Thanks. Minhun grabbed the hand and hauled himself up. He stared at the kid, totally curious. You the one who saved my skin? Bake jumped in. He is the guy who saved everyone. John glared at him. This dude talks way too much, he thought, annoyed. Minhun asked, Wait, are you Bake from the European Union? Mininoa's eyes locked onto the guy standing right next to Bake. A total mess of emotions hit him. I thought he was just some kid, but man, I was wrong. Suddenly, Minhua jumped like a light bulb went off. Are you Cadet Minhun? His voice shook. The one all over the news lately? The kid sighed and gave a small nod. Yeah, that is me. Mininoa stood there frozen, trying to keep it together. Fast, he fixed his face. He got his cool back and stood up straight and tall. He smoothed his messy clothes with shaky hands. His vibe flipped, becoming totally serious and respectful in a second. Mininoa bowed low, bending at a perfect 90-degree angle, her voice shaking with huge respect. Thank you. We owe you our lives. Jae-hyun just stood there like a statue, totally silent and unreadable. Suddenly, he smirked, looking pure arrogant. His cold eyes locked onto the man, glowing with a scary kind of fun that gave everyone serious chills. The reward. Next morning, sunlight stabbed through the hotel window like a golden spear, lighting up the quiet room. Then, a sharp doorbell ring killed the silence. It caught Jae-hyun's eye immediately as he sat on the sofa, chin on his hand. He called out lazily, "It is finally here." A moment later, Jae-hyun came back, holding a box like it was the heart of a god. He set it down. The air in the room felt heavy with all that hype. Staring at the thing, Jae-hyun could not stop grinning. He let out a long breath and whispered, "Perfect. I actually got it." Memories of yesterday played in his head like a movie. Minhua had made the offer herself. Just money is not enough to pay you back. Those artifacts you won at the auction. Let us turn them into a transcendent stone for you, the elder insisted. Anything you need, just ask. We will back you up with everything we got. Back in the real world, Jae-hyun's eyes were stuck on the box. He looked totally hyped. Finally, he had the power. He flipped the lid. When he saw what was inside, he let out a huge gasp of victory. The Transcendent Stone. The system screen popped up with a digital chime. Item, the Ring of Transcendence. Grade A, a mana-boosting accessory, giving him the active skill called Overload. Text scrolled fast across his eyes. Skill Overload. Grade A, mana boost, pumps up skill power by 150% for 5 minutes. The mana limiter is gone. He still had some worries, even though his power was hitting the roof. But right as he was thinking, a new notification flashed in his face. Item, Unhatched Dragon Egg, rank unknown. Contains the sleeping power of Fafnir, hatch time unknown. The egg appeared out of thin air. Jae-hyun freaked, reaching out to catch it. Hey, I cannot just lug this around. It felt heavy in his hands. The surface felt warm. How the hell am I supposed to get this thing to hatch? Suddenly, the system screen flashed gold, grabbing his eyes. A new hint popped up. Hatching conditions have been updated. To hatch it, you must feed it mana stones. John blinked, shocked. Mana stones? A plan formed fast. I saved my cash for a reason. He grabbed his phone, fingers flying over the screen. Time for a shopping spree. The call went through right away. A familiar voice picked up. Hello? Jae-hyun spoke with total confidence. Uncle, it is me, Min Jae-hyun. On the other end, the guy paused, sounding surprised and a bit scared. Jae-hyun, is something wrong? Do not tell me Yu Jung messed up again. Meanwhile, in a high-tech lab, her parents were busy researching. The sudden phone ring made her father jump. He quickly grabbed the phone. The second he knew the voice, his eyes lit up. He looked shocked at first, but then he got totally excited. He braced himself, thinking his daughter had done something so crazy that Jae-hyun had to call him personally. But instead of bad news, the young hunter got straight to the point. No, not that. I actually need a favor, uncle. It is about. Yu Jung's father laughed, feeling relieved, and cut him off. Mana stones? You got it. How many do you need? Jae-hyun's voice went low, serious and urgent, all of them. Hearing that, the old man gasped. He could not believe it. What? That many? Meanwhile, at the European Alliance base in Germany, Baru led an emergency meeting. The vibe in the room was heavy. Every face in the room was etched with grim terror. Siegfried slammed his fist down, his voice shaking with pure rage. You for real right now? Baru clenched his jaw and confirmed without blinking. Yes, starting right this second. I am ordering a total end to the hunt for the Black Robe. Siegfried hammered the table, the bang echoing like a gunshot. Siegfried roared, veins popping in his neck. Do you even realize what you are saying right now? Are we just going to ignore that massacre at the ruins? The world will think we are cowards. Then Baru shifted his gaze. His eyes were cold, dead pools of authority. Siegfried felt a chill freeze him right to the bone. That aggressive vibe he built up vanished instantly under that freezing stare. Baru spoke, his voice cutting through like ice. This is the best move I can make as the representative. Isn't that reason enough? Siegfried stammered, trying to fight back. Of course not. Give us a real explanation. Another member chimed in, voice shaking. I am with him on this. Why the sudden change of heart, Baru? Camila stepped forward, her voice sounding totally hollow. Because we could not stop him, even with both of us going full power. Siegfried looked like he had been slapped. Wait, what did you say? She finally voiced the nightmare that had been haunting her. I do not believe we can actually defeat him. Not even if we threw our entire army at him. Camilla lowered her head, sounding defeated. What I mean is, she took a shaky breath. The weight of survival was crushing her. Listen to me. If we want to live, we have to stop hunting him immediately. By late afternoon, crates overflowing with mana stones clogged up June's hotel suite. Staring at the massive pile of power before him, he could not help but be impressed. Same-day delivery for such a massive order? That old man was not just kind, he was terrifyingly efficient. The azure stones shimmered in the twilight, pulsing with raw, abundant energy. Suddenly, ding-dong, that sharp chime shattered the silence, making him jump. As the door swung open, familiar silhouettes filled the frame. It was his inner circle. Arriving right on cue, Rojang led the charge, her face glowing with uncontainable excitement. Her eyes sparkled like stars. Hey, June. My parents said you stockpiled a mountain of spirit stones, so we had to see. June did not even blink. He had predicted this exact outcome. Figured you would show up. He leaned back, crossing his arms. Yeah, I bought them. But isn't storming my room with the whole squad a bit dramatic? Annoyance flickered across June's face. And you all decided to raid me at once? My dad tipped me off, so I ran here. Anna's cheeks flushed pink as she looked away. I just wanted to see what kind of trouble you are causing this time. We are just dying of curiosity, that is all, Hoyan added, playing peacemaker. Don't worry, it is just us. The second years are tied up with special training right now. Besides, engineers hoard spirit stones for research all the time, right? He glanced nervously at the door, offering a weak excuse. Exactly. Wasting no time, June gestured for the whole group to gather around. It was time to reveal the real reason for his shopping spree. Behold! As he unveiled it, Rojang leaned in, staring at the mystery item. Shock painted her features. What on earth is that? An egg. Ignoring her, June reached into a crate, pulling out a stone that pulsed with a soft glow. Swiftly, he pressed it against the shell. Rumor has it, June explained in a low voice, that feeding it stones speeds up the hatching process. Their jaws hit the floor. That is amazing, Rojang squealed, practically vibrating with pure energy. Well, don't just stand there. Feed the little guy. Ding. The system interface appeared instantly. Grade A spirit stone absorbed. Hatching probability has increased significantly. Suddenly, the egg shuddered violently. Rojang gasped, pointing a shaky finger. Look, it is shaking. It is coming, Ina whispered. Before anyone could blink, spiderweb cracks exploded across the surface, spreading like wildfire. Blinding rays of golden mana erupted from the cracks, flooding the hotel room with a divine brilliance. The sheer intensity of the aura left June paralyzed, stealing the breath right out of his lungs. Ina's eyes widened into saucers. Her heart hammered against her ribs like a war drum, ready to burst. Rojang and Hoyan stood frozen, their minds struggling to process the miracle unfolding inches away. Crack! A tiny razor-sharp claw punctured the shell. Fragments of the casing rained down, hitting the floor with sharp, rhythmic clicks. In a heartbeat, the entity inside shattered its prison and emerged. It was a hatchling dragon. Blazing orange scales covered its body, radiating warmth like a newly kindled hearth. Rojang screamed internally at the sight. So freaking cute, she covered her mouth, eyes watering with total adoration. Like, oh my god. The system pinged with the final verdict. Fafnir 2. A little hatchling carrying the blood of the legendary Fafnir, labeled as your guardian deity. Current rank is D. Status, baby hatchling. Growth potential, way past rank S+. June stared at the hologram, brain melting. Wait, did it say exceeds S+? That is literally insane. Normally, only high-level awakeners or raid elites get guardians. We are talking about the top-tier tamer class. And let us be real, flexing a mascot this cute is a one-way ticket to becoming a viral superstar. Jae-hun's mouth twitched into a smirk. Endless possibilities. But guardians are crazy rare, he thought to himself. Without specific taming skills, raising this thing would be a total nightmare. The thought just kept looping in his head. That is exactly why I never even bothered dreaming about owning one. Until now. The little dragon reached out its tiny arms, eyes glistening with total expectation. Defeated by the cuteness, Jae-hun sighed and scooped the creature into his arms. Whoosh! Suddenly, the weight just vanished from his hands. Rojang snatched the dragon, rubbing her face all over its scales. What kind of sorcery is this? Where did this precious thing even come from? Ina walked up slowly, poking the dragon's nose with a shaky finger. Since when did you become a master tamer? She asked. Jae-hun gave Rojang a look of pure exhaustion. I didn't. I just found the egg in some dungeon. Jae-hun looked past the girls toward the back corner of the room. Ho-yan was literally trying to phase through the wall. Yo, Ho-yan, what are you doing? He stuttered, sweating hard. I am not really a pet guy. They kind of freak me out. June let out a massive sigh. Just look at him. This guy is a tank class, yet he is terrified of a baby lizard. Hey, it is just a preference, Ho Yan mumbled. Suddenly, Rojang's voice cut through the room like a hammer. I have made a decision. Wait, what? Jae Hun blinked. From this day on, she declared, staring at the hatchling, his name is going to be Lee. You like it, right? But one look at the creature's face said everything. He absolutely hated that name. She huffed. Stop trying to ruin our vibe. How could you even know if he likes the name or not? June replied with total calmness. Isn't it super obvious? His next few words left Ro completely stunned. His species is Fafnir, so just call him Fafi. Besides, he kinda looks like a dog anyway. Inha could not stop staring at Fafi, her heart melting because he was so cute. Next day, the doorbell rang loudly, killing the peace. June walked to the door, his face looking completely and utterly annoyed. Round beamed at him, radiating pure energy. We are here. Swan gave him a dirty look, acting all prickly like usual. Young shyly waved. Hello. Jae Hun clicked his tongue in annoyance, waving for the three of them to just get inside. A heavy silence fell over the room, thick with awkward tension thanks to these uninvited guests. Suddenly, June reached out and pinched Ro's cheek really hard. She let out a loud yelp. Since she was acting innocent, he snapped. Didn't you come over yesterday? Why are you back here again today? Meanwhile, Swan and Zhang stood frozen, staring at Fafi in awe. The creature checked them out and let out a little chirp. Suddenly, a blur of motion. Someone swooped in and snatched Fafi up. Round hugged the beast tight, acting totally obsessed with him. Don't be so cold. How could I leave this little guy alone when he is clearly so attached to me? Right, Rizzy? Jae Hun could only watch in total resignation. He opened his system interface, scrolling through data while correcting her. Call him Faf. On the screen, the guide read, How to Care for a Golden Fafnir 2 Dragon. While Round Yoon and the others played with the creature, Jae Hun stayed focused, deep into studying dragon care. They get irritated easily and have the mental age of a 5-year-old child. You have to satisfy their demands. June scratched his head, sighing. Seriously, is it really going to be that hard? Round cradled Fafi, basically dying because he was so cute. She let out a loud squeal. Oh my god, you love me that much? Such a good boy, Rizzy. June snapped again. I said his name is Fafi. Ignoring her, he went back to the screen. Fafnir 2 grows in sync with the master's own strength. If the master hunts monsters and gets experience, the dragon's level will rise, unlocking brand new skills. Most importantly, play with the dragon constantly during its infancy. If you don't, he will end up with a twisted personality. Ro Yun grabbed Fafi's paws, lifting him up like the Lion King. She looked at Jae Hun with puppy dog eyes. Yo, can I take Rizzy home with me? He gritted his teeth. First off, it is Fafi. Get the name right. And second, not a chance. Failing there, Round turned to Suan. Your turn. Look at him. He is too cute. Suan looked away, acting all reluctant. Fine, if I have to. Fafi's little nose started twitching. He definitely caught a whiff of something sweet. He locked onto that pink lollipop in Suan's hand. Fafi narrowed his eyes. Target locked. A predatory growl rumbled in his throat. She watched him like a hawk, slowly reaching out. Suan's hand crept closer, inch by painful inch. Right as she moved in, Fafi let out an annoyed shriek. Smack! He swiped his claws right across the back of her hand. Tears filled her eyes as she wailed, Why am I the only one you hate? Next day at the academy, Mu Yandu sat in her office, looking sharp. A tamer class. That is super rare. Even I am genuinely shocked. She glanced at Jae Hyun, who looked totally bored. I will sign a special permit so you can bring the little guy along. He gave a lazy shrug. Thanks. Yandu wasn't done yet. Her vibe suddenly shifted to something much more serious. We need to talk about something. June raised an eyebrow. What is it now? The room turned cold. Her face went dark. Lately, a bunch of students have gone missing. June's jaw dropped. Yandu kept her voice low. We are looking into it. But for now, it is mandatory. Everyone has to travel in groups. June's eyes narrowed. Something felt off. So, who are these missing kids? She did not sugarcoat it. The first victim was Shi Yun. Yandu mentioned the Triad gang members. June's eyes flashed with a dangerous edge. This absolutely cannot be some random coincidence at all. He pushed for more. Anything weird at the scenes? She gave a grim nod. Two things stood out. Yandu pictured the crime scenes as she explained. First, we found syringes with mystery red liquid wherever a student vanished. Then, a look of pure confusion hit her face. Second, the buildings and ground were completely trashed. Like a drunk giant went on a rampage. Jae Hyun felt the danger immediately. And that red stuff? What is it? Yandu sighed, fed up. I asked the association to investigate, but they have not lifted a finger, even though it is clearly tied to the disappearances. She stopped, obviously hiding something. June leaned in. There is more, right? But he only got silence and a stressed look from Yandu. Scene shift. The bloody light of the sunset soaked the school grounds in a deep crimson. The hallway was crawling with nasty whispers. What the hell? Does he really have the guts to show his face here? Every insult cut Bakdu like a razor. Had he not been nearly beaten to death by Minhun already? Why was he still hanging around like a ghost? The constant insults hammered his ears. He ground his teeth in pure rage, maybe trying to numb all the shame he felt. Or maybe he was just losing it. Nobody knew, but he walked with zero pride after his whole squad crumbled to pieces. If I were him, a student mocked, I would have ended it by now. Boom. Rage exploded. Bakdu kicked a trash can, screaming at nothing. Damn it all. He collapsed in a dark alley, sobbing in pure, total humiliation. His face darkened as the hate took over. Minhun, you trashed my name. You ruined everything. Suddenly, a cold vibe crept up from the shadows. You look absolutely and totally pathetic. Startled, Bakdu spun around, eyes wide as he recognized her. It was Cha-Yun. Bakdu glared, checking her out. I heard you went missing. You look pretty good for a ghost. Cha-Yun stayed cool. I had my reasons. A creepy, twisted smile spread across her face. But that is my little secret. Bakdu finally lost it and roared. Are you just here to talk trash? That sly grin didn't move as she shut him down. I am not here to mock you. I came to ask something huge. Her voice dropped to a creepy whisper. Do you hate Minhun? Bakdu blinked, confused and pissed off. What kind of dumb question is that? Let me be blunt, she pressed, eyes glowing. Is your hate deep enough to want him dead? Bakdu gritted his teeth, his thirst for revenge totally blinding him. Duh, that jerk ruined my life and my team. If I could, he screamed, shaking with anger, I would kill him right here, right now. Cha-Yun leaned in. Really? Then our dark goals align perfectly. She pulled out a syringe, watching him. That hate of yours? It is perfect for the taking. Bakdu stared at her hand, gut screaming danger. A syringe? He asked, voice tight. What kind of game are you playing? She flashed a wicked grin. I am giving you a shot at revenge, but remember everything comes with a price. Before he could blink, she struck. She jammed the needle right into his neck without hesitation. The serum hit his veins. Instantly, his eyes turned bloodshot as he let out a guttural howl of pain. Chan's eyes went pitch black as she laughed like a maniac. I have got to make sure you finish the job. Suddenly, an alarm screamed from a nearby screen. Emergency alert. Priority level 1. Minhun sat back, gripping Fafnir tight. Some crazy cult obsessed with Odin and Norse myths just crawled back into the light. He flashed back to his talk with Yeonju in her office. He had asked her, is there anything else I need to know? She went silent for a beat before whispering, Asu, have you ever heard that name before? Back in the present, the news anchor sounded grim. Breaking news. A dangerous organization has finally emerged from the shadows. They go by Asatru. Minhun frowned, petting Fafnir's fur as the weight of it all started to sink in. They are pulling off brutal crimes, specifically targeting the awakened. Cops are finding weird syringes filled with liquid and rotted skin at every single crime scene. Minhun scanned the data. So all 3 disappearances link back to this Asatru group. The screen cut to live footage. Headquarters grabbed a few members, but their minds were totally fried. Just complete and total shells of people. The prisoners were useless for questioning. They just kept repeating the same crazy trash like a broken record. Loyalty to Odin, loyalty to the Acier. The report kept going, and the vibe got even darker. It gets worse. Every single one of them was an awakened. Some were even agents from the control headquarters itself. The anchor asked the big, scary question, why are our heroes of justice suddenly turning into villains? What could mess with their heads this badly? Minhun sighed, feeling the pressure. I have got to look into this myself. Nothing is making sense. I have got a really bad feeling about this. But the news report wasn't over yet. Experts are warning that the biggest threat is the insane, unnatural power these fanatics have. Minhun locked in, studying the list of suspicious symptoms popping up on the screen. Word is, once they lose their minds, their mana becomes 3 to 5 times stronger than before. As soon as the news ended, Minhun killed the power. He looked at Fafnir and said his plan. First things first, I have got to focus on the Academy event. Tomorrow is the big day the Muse Academy ranking tournament kicks off. He glanced at Fafnir's cute little face. This is the main event for the festival. We can't screw this up, Minhun told himself, sounding serious. If I blow it now, everything my team did will be for nothing. Everything is on the line. He closed his eyes, getting in the zone. Stay cool. The chance will come. Just focus on the fight ahead. He opened his eyes, ready to go, and looked at Fafnir nuzzling his hand. You are with me, right, partner? The little guy chirped back. Suddenly, the scene shifted. Muse Academy dungeon simulation starting now? Huge fake orcs spawned out of nowhere. Fafnir raised his front claw high into the air. With a massive boom, he stomped the floor, shaking everything. He was staring down an enemy twice his size. Zero fear, just pure confidence coming off the little dragon. The air practically buzzed with deadly tension. Fafnir took a huge breath, his chest puffing out. Then boom, a wave of red fire exploded, torching the entire orc horde instantly. They did not even have a second to scream before they were just ash. The kill feed went crazy with notifications. You have defeated an orc. You have defeated an orc. You have defeated an orc. Minhun's jaw hit the floor. My god, seeing Fafnir's cocky attitude, he was totally impressed. I knew you were a dragon, but I did not think you had this much destructive power. It finally clicked for him as he muttered, I seriously need to raise you the right way. This little guy felt even stronger than Jae-hyun ever was in his past life. Hearing the praise, Fafnir tilted his head. Jae-hyun quickly pulled up the system screen to check the dragon's stats. Name, Fafnir. Tier 2, rank none. Passive skill, Fafnir's Blessing. Active skill, Dragon's Breath. Current growth, 31%. Rank increases at 100%. Passive skill, Fafnir's Blessing. Rank S. Effect, Fafnir's Blessing. When together, the summoner's damage and mana increase by 50%. Active skill Dragon's Breath. Rank D. Spit a cone of dragon fire and fry those enemies. This skill rank scales with the dragon's tier. Jae-hyun leaned down, stroking Fafnir's scales. Seriously impressive. All right, you'll be my ultimate weapon if you keep growing. Suddenly, Jae-hyun's eyes went razor sharp. He glanced behind him, feeling the air shift. A red warning window flashed. Dungeon boss spawning. The Orc King has arrived. A huge shadow stepped out, radiating pressure that made it hard to breathe. The Orc King glared at Jae-hyun and Fafnir, letting out a terrifying roar. Jae-hyun looked at the dragon's tiny body and doubted him. You're a dragon, sure, but taking down a boss might be too much for you right now. Scrapping the idea of letting Fafnir fight, Jae-hyun stepped up. Fine, I needed to break a record anyway. He looked stone cold while opening his inventory. A dagger just materialized right in his hand. Jae-hyun locked onto his prey like a predator. Pissed off by the human's ego, the Orc King screamed, but he was slow. That dagger ripped through the air like lightning. The boss stood for a second, then just face-planted, cold as death. Jae-hyun ended it with one single strike. A satisfied smirk spread across his face. Done. System messages flooded his vision. You've defeated the boss monster. Teleporting to the Hall of Records now. Clear time, 22 minutes, 21 seconds. You broke the Muse Academy record. Bonus points added. The gate slammed shut. Exam over. The crowd outside started buzzing with all kinds of rumors. Jae-hyun looked at the leaderboard rankings. Number 1, Jae-hyun, 22 minutes and 21 seconds. Second place, Hunang, 30 minutes, 50 seconds. Third, Jong-hun, 50 minutes and 13 seconds. Ninth, An-yoon, 1 hour 11 minutes. 14th, Selena, 1 hour 23. 16th, Kim Yoo-jung, 1 hour 30 minutes. 59th, Go-jun, 1 hour 53. Everyone stared at second place. Why is Shin Bak-jun there instead of Jong-hoon? A mocking voice cut through the whispers behind him. Surprised, are we? Jae-hyun looked back, totally bored. Seeing the guy's smug face, Jae-hyun asked, Shin Bak-jun, how'd you pull off that time? Baek-yoon scoffed. I don't owe an explanation to trash like you. Jae-hyun just looked at him with pity. Fair enough. That brush-off set off Baek-yoon's temper. Grinding his teeth in pure hate, he hissed at Jae-hyun. You think you're the main character, don't you? Social media, the Lotus Guild, the Academy, everyone worships you. Life must be so easy for you, huh? Jae-hyun stood there, letting the toxic words wash over him. He just tilted his head, eyes blank. So what? Veins started popping on Baek-yoon's forehead. I'm gonna drag you down to hell. Jae-hyun covered his mouth, failing to hide a laugh. To Baek-yoon's shock, that chuckle turned into a full-on laugh. Jae-hyun looked at him with pure ridicule. Are you hitting puberty again? I thought we were way too old for all this edgy teenage angst. The mockery made Baek-yoon clench his fists until his knuckles turned white. He tried to scream a comeback, but he choked on his own rage. Pissed off, he spun around to storm away, but stopped for one last threat. Mark my words, you'll regret this. Then, he stomped away like a total brat. Just then, the announcer's voice echoed over the speakers, breaking the tension in the room. Reports say subjects can tap into triple their mana limit after losing their goal. Jae-hyun went silent. Something, he muttered, is definitely wrong here. Later that day, two figures met in a lonely corner of the campus. It was Jong-hun and Lena. Seeing him walk up so relaxed, Lena finally spoke up. You finally made it. A deep voice cut in. Yeah, stepping out was Minhun himself. He called in a massive favor from Lena. Thanks for doing this. For her, it was simple. She owed him everything. He had risked his life for the Academy repeatedly, saving them on that trip and also rescuing Gwen from certain death. A heavy silence hung there before the other guy finally spoke, his tone dripping with sarcasm. Long time no see, Minhun. You've become quite the star since we last met, haven't you? Jae-hyun squinted, the face hitting a memory. You are, then it finally clicked for him. This was the A-list raider, Park Yong-hun. Jae-hun immediately reached out. The recognition stroked Yong-hun's ego, earning a nod. So, you remember me? He cut to the chase. I hear you're sniffing around the crime scene. His voice held a hint of hesitation. Look, if you want real answers, we have to go back to where this nightmare first started. The group vanished, leaving the blood-soaked ruin behind. Jae-hyun stopped dead in his tracks. He stared at a patch of dried blood crunching under his boots. Wait! Lena yelled, her voice sounding dead serious. The lab results just hit my inbox. She held up a vial glowing with a creepy red liquid. It is a chimera, she said, scanning the data. A volatile mess of human blood fused with weird foreign agents. Jae-hyun narrowed his eyes. A new compound? Lena nodded. Exactly. We have never seen anything like this. Her voice dropped low. But biology is just the start. This liquid is not just matter. It is alive with raw power. It holds a crazy amount of mana. The news sent Jae-hyun into a total tailspin. Blood was usually just a container for energy. Normally, it could not hold mana that did not belong there. This should be impossible. The brain, the heart, the core, those are the real engines of magic. Blood is not supposed to be a battery. Young-hoon cut in, his face getting darker by the second. We have not cracked the formula yet. He leaned in close and whispered, but I can tell you this. This is top secret info from my guild. This poison has the fingerprints of that crazy cult everyone is talking about. Asatru. Jae-hyun knew the name. It fit the profile perfectly. Makes sense, he muttered under his breath. But something else was bugging him. It is not just the cult. These crime scenes are way too similar. Lena pulled up the holograms. He is right. Look, every single spot had one of these syringes. The Academy thinks this red serum forces a user's mana to multiply. Young-hoon spat on the ground in disgust. A drug to shatter the ceiling. A limit breaker. It was not exactly a new concept. These amplifiers are dark legends of the underground, designed to turn weaklings into gods. It is a forbidden elixir meant to force a hunter's rank higher. But the price of power was always high. The research was built on a foundation of pure torture. Eventually, the world government banned it completely. Lena sighed, feeling totally defeated. We know what it is, but not the source. We are chasing ghosts. This failure stung Young-hoon's pride. Sorry, we do not have more. Jae-hyun shook his head, his eyes sharp. No, do not be. You gave me the final piece. The term limit breaker triggered a memory. He had seen rumors on the dark web about the madmen behind this original formula. The pieces of the puzzle were finally clicking into place. He had to hunt this down personally. Lena, he said, turning around. I need a leave of absence from the academy. I am going to be gone for a few days. Can you clear it? I need 0 distractions. If the limit breaker was back in circulation, it meant the evil had a single source. He was going to rip it out. Lena stared at him as it clicked. You are ending this yourself, right? He did not even blink. Yeah. She was silent for a second before letting out a helpless laugh. Fine. You are excused for now. Just promise to call me if things get too crazy. She watched him, knowing the truth. Minhun was not like other raiders. There were stronger people out there right now, but his potential? It was terrifyingly infinite and scary. More importantly, his eyes were locked on a target that no one else could even see yet. His motives are a mystery, but he might be the only one to stop this disaster. Night fell over the city. Suddenly, a deafening crash shattered the silence as a fist slammed into a wall. Blood sprayed from his mouth on impact. This twisted, grotesque figure was none other than Bud. But then, a voice cut right through the pitch black. There you are. A tall, imposing silhouette stepped out from the shadows. I have been looking everywhere for you, man. The man hunting him down was none other than Minhun. We meet again. You really are a total nuisance. The second Bud saw that face, pure hatred boiled over as he growled the name. Minhun did not care about the rage. He cut to the chase. Sini Yunsung told me. You used the limit breaker drug, did you not? Tell me, who gave you that filth? Bud ignored him. Instead, he let out a beastly roar. What do you think you are doing? Minhun did not let him finish. It was Chan, was it not? Silence fell as Minhun studied the creature. Seeing Bud's form, half human and half demon, he realized the truth. It was too late for salvation. The mutation had gone way too far. He knew something was off before, but never imagined it would escalate to this horror. Minjun's voice went stone cold. So, you knew the side effects of that garbage, right? That question basically poured high-octane gas on Bud's rage. He let out a desperate, bitter scream. As long as I get my revenge, I don't care about anything else. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be this way. He blamed Minhun for every sin. It's your fault. You made me this. Minjun's face went dark. Revenge? He gave a cold laugh. Are you kidding me? This is absolutely pathetic. Minhun stared at the face twisted by pure rage. This isn't on me. No matter what crazy story you tell yourself, truth remains. That cold attitude pushed Bukdu over the edge, making him grind his teeth until they almost snapped. You scumbag. But Minhun just watched him with an icy stare, studying the freak he had become. The verdict was clear. He could use a sacrifice to fix a broken body, but there was no cure for a mind already warped beyond repair. Meanwhile, BDU was spiraling, muttering, "Damn it! Revenge! Revenge!" Even though he hated the guy, Minhun decided to show him one final mercy. Only one thing left to do for a loser like him. Instantly, he channeled his power, voice perfectly calm. "I will end your suffering right now." Suddenly, thunder crashed across the clear night sky. Burning chains and scorching flames erupted from thin air, summoned by Minjun's command. A massive force slammed into BDU, leaving him no room to run. Minjun stayed ice cold as he struck, not wasting a single word. Only after the dust settled did he speak. "Fire is your weakness." BDU collapsed, eyes wide and full of shock. His voice shook, refusing to accept the loss. "How is this possible?" I thought. "I thought I could kill you with his power." Those words confirmed exactly who was behind this mess. Minjun repeated the phrase with a smirk. "His power? Really? I think I know exactly who you're talking about. But get one thing straight. I am way stronger than I used to be." He looked down at BDU's pathetic logic. "No matter how much mana you've got, thinking that was enough to kill me? Dead wrong." Minjun went silent for a moment, thinking it over, before letting out a sharp curse under his breath. Meanwhile, on the mountain overlooking the city, two figures stood silently in a guarded sanctuary. Julian sighed. "That one's broken too." The man beside her didn't care, saying, "We can find a replacement whenever we want." She knew he was right, but she still felt some regret. Still, it is a waste. Finding someone with that specific profile is tough. Duan had to admit that made sense. It was rare to find a host with such pure hatred for another person, especially someone who despised the great enemy. Julian understood the requirement. The limit breaker drug needed extreme emotion to work. She chose BDU because his hatred was so intense, it practically leaked out of him. Without that massive emotion to ground them, a human body would just fail and die from the drug. The higher the rank and the nastier the feeling, the more the limit breaker's potential could be pushed to the max. After a silent moment, Duan laughed. "I have to admit, even I didn't expect the great enemy to win today. Impressive." His praise made Juan scowl, her face souring with annoyance. "I thought the same about Fafnir, but he's just too powerful compared to normal humans." Her beautiful but creepy eyes locked onto Duan as she spoke. "He might actually become a problem for us, just like Black said." She paused, then shrugged it off. "But maybe it's fine. Eventually, he'll have to face us either way." Duan said nothing. Instead, he slowly raised his hand. A blade suddenly appeared in his grip, humming with dark power. His voice dropped, heavy with anticipation. "I have waited so long for this day." The scene cuts to a palace that is both epic and depressing. A blizzard raged outside, burying everything in sharp ice. Inside the frozen halls, three powerful figures stood facing each other. Hilla stood in silence, her eyes locked on the two figures seated upon high thrones. Suddenly, the mirrors in the chamber glowed, and a portal ripped open. Smear stepped out, his voice commanding. "This is the first time we've all gathered, not since the great purge of the rebels." Hilla nodded, acknowledging the situation. "Indeed, luck is on our side. The disaster mentioned in the prophecy is growing stronger than we ever expected, but the problem remains. The IA system is already moving to stop us." Hell cut in, her voice getting low and heavy. "Honestly, I never thought the AA system held such a dark secret. I didn't see this coming. It feels wrong." She squinted, lost in thought, before dropping a massive, heavy question on us. "Is Eye of Odin really planning to team up with the Legion of the Dead again? Does he want to take Midgard by force?" Smear had his own doubts. Did the Norns and Mimir know about this backstabbing from the start? Hilda didn't even skip a beat. They knew, but maybe they just couldn't warn us. Then, she dropped a detail that gave me actual chills. The restrictions on their souls are way more powerful than the seals they slapped on us. Sadness flashed in Smear's old eyes as he took it in. He spoke slow, sounding like he'd already given up. "I see. Looks like he finally gets how ruthless that guy is. Odin only fears one thing, people who actually know his truth. He took out the prophets for one simple reason. Anyone tied to that prophecy was just standing in his way." Then Hel spoke the cold, hard truth. "There is basically nothing we can do about it right now. Our only move is to level up the great enemy as fast as humanly possible." Hilda nodded, totally down for this crazy plan. "I agree. The big bad has already grabbed some divine power." She looked almost proud and soft as she started talking about him. "He'll break every limit soon." Hel was totally thrown off by how emotional she was being all of a sudden. She laughed, teasing her. "You really trust this guy, don't you?" Called out, Hilda's face turned bright red. She looked super embarrassed and cleared her throat loud. "Anyway, you guys heard of the First Awakener?" That name got Smear's attention fast. The First Awakener? Even Hel knew about that legendary guy. "I've heard the rumors, but I've never met the man in person. Normally, I only hang out with dead people." Suddenly, right as they were talking, Smear vanished into thin air.